What's going on, everybody? I realize there's no English. We have this awesome CCQ that's going on in Bologna and no English. And I thought, why don't we go ahead and pop something on? So, just woke up, throwing this together really quick. Bear with me, and we're going to get this going. Do this. Bang, bang. And we're going to watch, looks like DKP versus Michelle. DKP on Blurple. DKP's been on a lot of Blurple lately. That's been his, kind of been his MO this set. And, including last set. Let me go ahead and get that out of here, though. We don't need to see me. Just wanted to make sure that was working. You'll notice he's also been playing it in the CC or in the LCCC. So... and saw success with it last set where he did do well at the DLC Milwaukee, and now still rocking it. So still feeling that route, and you know, it's not a bad route to go. Why is this still on? Because the nice thing about Blurple is that it has a good matchup into Amethyst Steel. So if you're expecting a lot of Amethyst Steel, then Blurple has the room to be able to go through. Blurple, or DKP, huge shout out to him. And he knows how to work that camera for everybody. So showing off his hand for everybody so we can see that. And shout out to the judge. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but the judge immediately saying, hey, you played a card. You turn your ink sideways to show that you have played that card, that you've utilized that ink. So huge shout out to him of making people utilize their resources the correct way. But yeah, DKP throws down that Basil, showing off his hand. It looks like turn 2 ramp was in there. And then Michelle rocking the Pete, which is going to be really helpful. Pete is, well, not helpful into this matchup. But the nice thing about that Pete is that it's going to be super helpful into the green-blue decks. Pete has made a resurgence in the meta for Amethyst Steel, specifically because of how popular green blue has become, and Pete just stopping their board wipe. So a really good card. We see Michelle pop back with a Cheshire Cat, turning her ink sideways. Really quick match so far. This is really impressive. They're just kind of going at it. They know what their lines are, and now this is where it kind of slows down a little bit, and DKP wondering, what do I want to ink here? But he does have some time, so he goes ahead and throws down the genie, gets that draw. He did have some time, though. He could have done something like set up a book. He also had the route of going Iago, and this is not open deck list, so DKP not sure if Amethyst Steel is running maybe Fire the Cannons, Thunderbolt. Well, there's a Thunderbolt, so that kind of protects his Iago now, unless there's also a Strength of Raging Fire in hand. So we'll see, and he does opt to throw down that Iago, inks the sail. Next turn, giving him the opportunity, probably throw down a book, maybe a Hypnotized Strength if Amethyst Steel is to pop back with their own Iago. Throwing down 5, Elsa. Now putting that 1 damage on there, so Cheshire Cat now has the ability. Oh, and a Strength of a Raging Fire comes down from Michelle with a really good turn where the board was looking really good. DKP baited out the Thunderbolt, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out for him where that Strength of Raging Fire was there. Now, unfortunately, DKP with another set of bad draws. Demona, yes, it's going to draw. It won't draw him any when he plays it, and it will draw Michelle a bunch of cards. So kind of a useless card, but also Tipo, another useless card for DKP right now. So goes ahead, throws it down just to have something, and then inks a Hypnotized Strength. He inks the Hypnotized Strength for T-Bow's effect just to get that ink, and then can now throw down the Hades. But man, what a start by Michelle. Michelle just having all the answers this game, throwing down the Thunderbolt, throwing down the Strength of Raging Fire, and then a Dock as well. So DKB's definitely got his work cut out for him here. But being able to throw down 2 Hades back to back is going to be nice. That Hades is going to be able to trade really well if he turns anything sideways along with Tipo. And then he also has the ability to play another Hades next turn to take something out. Most likely that Cheshire Cat, getting rid of that potential damage removal. And then Michelle only questing for 1 each turn. So where she had a phenomenal start, she still has some plays in that Hades though. DKP, this is a tough choice. Do I want to give Amethyst Steel 2 cards? And looks like he says, no, I cannot afford to do that, which is unfortunate. That's a lot of trade value. But with the hand that he has, he's able to control a lot of the board. What's going on, Us? How you doing, man? So here we'll see Hades come down. Very interested. Okay, he does take on the Cheshire Cat, which is a top tier decision because now he has his own Cheshire Cat, which Cheshire Cat going to let him move 2 damage, which is going to be extremely impactful and important. And then Into the Unknown, which is going to throw something to the Inkwell. With Michelle only having 1 card in hand, she had a great start, but now she needs to see something to help her draw cards. Otherwise, she's in a really rough place. And it's pretty wild. And it shows the power of Blurple into this matchup because just like that, she had what, I mean, a lot of people could say would be a perfect start to the game. And DKP, with the thanks of Hades, you know, just ramping hard to get to those Hades, able to just take out those key characters of hers, and now able to take control of the match. If he draws an Elsa, he can Into the Unknown, maybe Hades, and then once he does that, he kind of is free to quest and do whatever he wants. Calhoun comes down, but that's going to kind of, Strength of a Raging Fire, okay. So now we have Michelle in top deck mode. DKP most likely looking for not another turn 2 ramp, but it is draw, so that is something. He can throw that Rafiki down, which is fine, and then just kind of sit there and stare at each other. DKP hoping to get some of that draw. He wants to see maybe more guidebooks, Hades of his own, and Elsa would be nice as well. Genie's a good one. Genie letting him throw that down and draw 1, and goes ahead. All right, throws, says, I don't need Into the Unknown anymore. I'll throw down my Iago, and now both players in top deck mode. Michelle does have another Calhoun. Oh, man. Yes, I do love that DKP does that. Okay, here comes the Elsa. So that Elsa is really big. He can turn something sideways. So now what he can do is probably turn the tiny adversary or the Calhoun sideways and take it out with Iago or Rafiki. Now, if he turns, going with, okay, he does take out the Royal Vizier, saying, I just want to get rid of your evasive answer. And that actually is super smart because now that leaves Michelle with no evasive answer. All those characters, and she has no evasive characters. Wow. So we do see a Giant Cobra come down. Giant Cobra still not able to turn sideways. So Genie, Iago, and Elsa just going to be able to turn sideways and quest for 4 every turn, which is going to force Michelle to start turning sideways. The problem is, once she turns sideways, that opens the floodgates. Now, the advantage of going this route is there's no good way. So DKP could do something, right? We'll see what he gets here. Oh, okay. He does keep that Demona. Oh, wow. That Demona is huge because now he's able to clear both Calhouns. Oh, that Demona was top tier, top deck for him. Unfortunately, really bad draws off of his own Demona, but he's able to send Rafiki into Calhoun. He's able to then maybe quest with Basil to send Tipo into Calhoun. So take out both Calhouns. And then he could send Hades plus Iago into the Madam Mim adversaries. There's so many things that he can do here. Looks like he's going to send Hades and Rafiki into the Calhouns, though. And again, there's so many different ways to quote-unquote skin this cat, right? On how you want to go about doing it. So going this route lets him keep an extra character alive, though. Whereas if he'd gone Tipo like Basil into Tipo, then that would have forced him to lose 2 characters trading into Calhoun's. Justin, Devona is truly a game ender almost whenever it's played. Yeah, she really does make a huge impact. I was playing Green Purple Tempo the other day on stream, and I was just bouncing Demonas back to my hand because I'd empty my hand, play Demona, turn all their stuff sideways, draw 3, and it was just disgusting. So now we see the trades happening. Really big fan. If you guys, I don't think people will utilize this technique enough where they put their cards in front of what they're going to challenge into, trying to organize their thoughts. They kind of leave their cards wherever they want. Well, move them around. You can move your cards around as much as you want. And you'll notice when you do it this way, you organize your thoughts and you're able to just really paint a picture on what you're trying to do. And so really, really impactful decision to do something like that to help control and just organize yourself. And when you have this many things going on, like that's going to be really important. Help you not misplay things like that and help you make those decisions. So definitely a habit that I think more people should utilize. Now we see that Dumbo in hand. We did see that DKP inked the Hades. So a Dumbo from Michelle, but unfortunately nothing to use those Dumbo triggers on. She does have the Royal Vizier, so Jafar Royal Vizier is a Dumbo trigger, but now we see that DKP is also going to be able to trigger his Dumbo next well, yes. So draw for turn. Let's see what he gets. We will never know until he shows us. But he's rocking a lot of ink right now, so certainly able to play whatever he drew. Another say, I think he has drawn all of his turn 2 ramp at this point. So develop, just searching what is it that I might need. Hypnotic Strength, not necessarily doing a lot for him. There's no illusion characters for him to answer. The question, is Basil going to help any math? It could if he wanted to trade something like Elsa or Genie into the Dumbo. But the Hypnotic Strength could also help with math. So it really comes down to, do I want the card draw or do I want the character? And it seems like DKP opting to go with, just give me the character so I can make my own choices. We see the Dumbo come down. So really important thing there is DKP just going ahead and seeing all the draw possible first. And he used that sale. He used that develop your brain, all of those different mechanics, so he could just see exactly how much draw he has. And now wondering, do I send the Iago to take out these tiny adversaries? Because if I do send Iago, then Lexington's going to trade into it, or Jafar Royal Vizier is going to trade into it. But that's not necessarily a bad thing either, because then they're not drawing next turn. But he does opt instead to use the Dumbo trigger, so that ability to trade for 1. Another develop your brain. And DKP, just a huge fan of develop. If you guys remember from DK, the burn, the red blue shark deck, really high on develop, opting in his guides, always saying you will always use develop first over these other cards like visions and things, because you're always searching for those answers. And as long as you understand all the lines in your deck, you know what those answers are that you need in that situation. Now just a couple more choices. Do I use another Dumbo trigger? Do I just quest? Do I take out the tiny adversaries? Elsa is going to take out the one tiny adversary. And Genie will, looks like, Dumbo trigger. Or is he going to quest for 2? Now if he does quest for 2, it goes up to 11. And then he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on board. So still not two-turn lethal. So, and he does take on the tiny adversary. Yes, yep. So Bro Hamilton's got you, Justin. Thank you, Bro Hamilton. They do have pass downs, so there's no reason to not compete. Get some good wins and everything. You're not taking a slot from anyone by any stretch of the imagination, and if you win, cool. Someone else gets your pass down, and you get a lot of cool prizes and another win added to your pedigree, so to speak. Ooh, we see 2 docks come down from Michelle. So that's helpful. Michelle really digging for anything at this point. Developing a big board is going to be really important, though, because right now DKP does have, he's able to clear the board in 2 turns. So that's really important. But the other thing that the docks have allowed is that previously Michelle's only draw engine was going to be the Dumbo and the Jafar. So now, though, with those docks, she can trade with the Jafar and trade with the Dumbo if she wanted to, because she doesn't need that draw anymore. DKP, help him move dice. So Jafar most likely going to trade into Iago. Yep. Just take out those Dumbo triggers. And so 2 docks really made a huge impact simply because it allowed Michelle to trade now instead of having to use Dumbo and Jafar to draw. Really, really tough turn. So DKP now, what a back and forth. Being at 9, he goes 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So he could still just quest out and force the trades, but Michelle will be able to take out everything he has on the board at the moment. So we see a develop come down. I believe that's all 4 develops. DKP just finding all of his 1-drops, all of his turn 2 ramp, not finding more of those genies, not finding more of the Hades. He does have 2 Hades, 3 genies left, 3 Dumbos left, 2 Demonas if he's on 4. So there's certainly things in there besides 1-drops and turn 2 ramp. Oh, the Bell comes down. Bell being able to move 3 damage. I suspect you move it there. Take that out. Take out that Lexington that does not have evasive. The Lexington have the new keyword alert, meaning that it can challenge as if it had evasive. So Basil putting in a lot of work there. DKP questing the 14. Now having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on board, forcing Michelle to now make some trades that she's not going to want to make. And how does she make them? Because that is a good way to do it. The 4th dock comes down from Michelle. So now she is able to take out the Dumbo because she can she can send Dumbo into, she can send Genie to Dumbo, but I still don't think it's enough. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Nope, even taking out the Dumbo, it wouldn't have been enough. It would have left DKP at 20. So picking it up, saying, let's go to game 2. Let's not go to times and go to turns, because that's just, it's never a place we want to live. Unless you play green-purple control. And then your life is turns. They're for sure going, yeah, that was, I did not see what their game started at as far as time. I don't know if it's 50 or 55-minute rounds, but either way, if it's 50, that was an 18-minute game. If we assume, that takes us, if we go to game 3, that's 36 minutes. So yeah, we could possibly go to turns unless DKP does win with that 2-0 victory. So with 400 so this is round 5. I'd be curious. So with 4, they had some around. No, this is round 6. Yeah, that makes more sense because it's 8 rounds, I believe, with 450-ish people. If anyone in the chat knows for sure, let me know what the split is for rounds. With, I think it's like 450, somewhere between 430 and 450. I think is the total amount of people. So I missed the beginning. Who was on the play? Michelle was on the play in game 1. So she did win the dice roll. So that is going to be massive, right? Because now that means DKP taking the lead going into game 3. They also have the same sleeves. I just noticed. Yeah, Demona was so huge in that matchup. DKP, no turn 2 ramp. Yeah, no turn 2 ramp. So we'll see if he opts to send back how many. Taking his time, waiting. Okay, so sending back 6, keeping the Rafiki just as a way to trade, and finds the set. He looks at the judge next to him, and he's like, "Look at that, man." That was awesome. That needs to be. I'm gonna have to clip that, and that I'm gonna have to clip that and make like a GIF, a GIF, whatever you want to say out of that, because that was actually that was really cool. If you guys were watching the screen up top in the top left, when he drew that turn two ramp, he looked over at the judge, and that was really fun. So shout out to DKP, a man that does know how to play the camera, and again, showing off his hand, which is just awesome. So all right, let's see how this game goes. Looking at, it doesn't look like a turn one, so no turn one from Michelle, and so that's definitely putting the ball in DKP's court. Now he's wondering, do I need to even play the Rafiki here? She had no turn one, so do I really care about playing my turn one? Now the other thing is, I think not playing a turn one is the go, because you have sail, so you can always just play your turn one on your turn two with the sail if you really need to. We ink the book and draw, so now we have the option. Do we play the develop or do we play the Rafiki? And opting to ink the develop to play the Rafiki, saying, okay, I'm at least going to answer anything you play now as long as it's not evasive. So again, when you're playing Blurple, if sail is your turn two ramp, if you don't need to do it, if your opponent has no board, and then why waste that potential ink that you might actually need? So we do see the Giant Cobra that come down with no trigger, and that's massive. If I'm DKP, I'm really happy right now for two reasons. A, I have the Hypnotic Strength in my hand, and B, that's two Cobras that are now gone from Michelle. That is a total of 4 lore that Michelle will not be seeing this game from Giant Cobras. So that Giant Cobra coming down is just really big. That is a massive tempo swing for DKP with the Hypnotic Strength. And just recognizing now that she's lost a lot of reach for later in the game. So if he can control her in these early turns, then it's going to be tough. As long as he keeps her around 10, there's no way that she's going to be able to play a character 1 per turn and get to 20. And with a Rafiki and a Tipo down, that's a pretty good way to control the board. And that Rafiki just being extremely dangerous here, because right now, if she draws a strength, she kind of just has to use it on Rafiki if she wants to start gaining any lore. But now that might be the nail in the coffin. Like this is going to be really tough. That Demona comes down again, being the card. If you guys saw game 1, Demona was the card that changed the entire game. And now where Michelle was trying to build that board, this Demona comes down, takes out that Jafar. It removes any Dumbo opportunities, and it also removes any opportunities for her to trade or use a strength now on this next turn if she wanted to hard cast a strength. So we'll see what happens now, and she still can't turn sideways because now there's a 5/6 Demona on the other side of the board that's going to be able to trade into anything that you do. Meanwhile, still rocking 2 Hades in hand and a Bell. So really just tough place. You see that strength going to the Inkwell, plays the dock. So Purple Steel, Amethyst Steel, trying to just go wide here and see if I can go wide enough, maybe I can get there. But where she's still on 0 lore, it's going to be tough. Now we'll see, does Hades come down? Hades coming down on dock. And the reason for that is that Olaf. And because what could happen with that Olaf is, remember, when Olaf is banished, you can return a character to hand. So if she has another strength on a strength of a Raging Fire, she can do that. If DKP was to turn sideways, she can send Olaf in there. Olaf turning sideways then, or getting banished, so bouncing that dock back to hand, and you have an endless dock cycle going on. So taking out, using Hades on that whenever Olaf leaves play, not just banished. Perfect. Yeah, so a lot of different ways then that Olaf could bounce all those cards. So questing with the Olaf, because you want the Olaf to be taken care of. And whenever Olaf leaves play is actually super impactful because you can't Hades Olaf now. So that means if you do Hades the Olaf, it leaves play, you bounce the dock anyways. So instead, just get rid of all the cards that Olaf may want to actually bounce. And now you don't care about these characters getting bounced, so you leave them on the field, Olaf being a May trigger. And now DKP able to quest with that Demona. and showing off a guidebook and a bell in hand. Two very, very good cards to have at this time. With a lot of ink, it looks like DKP rocking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ink. And not a bad turn either. So sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, so 6 in there to take out that Demona, which not a bad play. Keeping cards out of their hand. We get rid of the Genie. Michelle is top deck mode at this time. And Hades just putting in work. Hades just going ham, showing why he is the king of the underworld. And two guidebooks, one bell in hand. So guidebook going to be able to come down next turn. Draw 2 cards. Winning the resource war. 2 big butts questing for 2. We see a Tipo, kind of a useless card right now. So let's go ahead and get that draw. Getting the draw before we decide, do we want to play a Tipo? Do we want to ink a Tipo? Looks like we did see a Dumbo. We did see a Dumbo and another guidebook. So Dumbo, unfortunately, not going to be able to really draw you any cards because of that Lexington. So Dumbo is just going to kind of sit there until you find that answer, or they challenge into you. So we do see 5 damage go on and then bouncing the Lexington. Very, very nice move there. Just getting that fresh Lexington down, answering one of their characters. Really good move there, utilizing that Olaf. And then now we see the Elsa. So are we going to see Elsa and Hades take out the Lexington? And I think we are, because you Hades and Elsa to take out the Lexington, which then lets your Dumbo draw, and then you use Bell next turn, or you could even Bell this turn if you ink something to take out the tiny adversary. So is he going to ink something to play the Bell this turn, or wait a turn so he can draw? Oh, he only had 3 ink left over. I thought he had 4 ink left over. Or he could have inked something. Okay, so he is just waiting. He is just waiting. Bell is a 5 cost, so he wouldn't have been able to play it this turn. So now next turn, he's going to Bell, take out the tiny adversary, and then he can just wait with the Bell in hand. Michelle top decking, needs to find something, needs to find a lot of somethings at this point. Dump truck would put in a lot of work. Ooh. So we move the 3 damage. Oh, that is such a massive top deck. That is so huge. That is possibly the only way that she was able to stay in this game, was top decking that Cheshire Cat. So Cheshire Cat, of course, having the boost 2 effect, letting her, when you boost Cheshire Cat, you can then move 2 damage from chosen character to opposing character. So we do draw from the guidebook, get 2. We see a Genie and some other things. So Genie comes down, draws 1. We do see Bell, Dumbo, our own Cheshire Cat, and a Develop Your Brain. So we'll probably get the draw. We make the trade. And then are we going to just throw Bell down just so we have tempo? Nope, we do develop. That is 3 Dumbos now, but it looks like we're going to opt to keep the Iago, saying if you want to take it out with a Strength of a Raging Fire or something, that's fine. I'll take the trade value. I'll take the big body so I can move damage with Cheshire. And then Michelle, again, top decking, hoping to find a Doc, hoping to find a Strength of a Raging Fire would be super helpful here. A Dumbo would be super helpful here as well. One thing I didn't even notice, DKP is playing all... I don't know if he's playing any foils. So if you guys remember from DLC Milwaukee, there was that huge issue. I believe he was playing a lot of like Chinese cards and foils and all perfectly legal stuff, but the judge felt that you could tell the difference between all of them, made him play a bunch of proxies instead. So it looks like DKP going the route of just playing all regular cards, no foils, no enchanteds, saying, I'm not going to run into that anymore. I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to deal with the undue stress of if that happens. Smart move, in my opinion. You can, like, foils are not like they used to be. Even double sleeved, my foils are still bending in my deck. They're, what do they call it? Kringling? So, okay, we do play the Bell. Bell moving 1 damage to Cheshire Cat. And then just because why not? Bell's questing for 2. It's still a 4/4 body that represents more lore when you're already at 11. And just get the bodies down, build a board, and then when you're at 11, you're currently questing for 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 18. So now you can just kind of quest. That's 12. He's got 19 on board right now, saying, you have just figure it out. I don't need to play games anymore. I'm just going to play a bunch of characters and pringling like the chips. Thank you, Quest for 2. That makes sense. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, we do see Michelle pop down 2 genies, so that is one way to help. Again, finding card draw. We did see Michelle find the 1 dock earlier, still searching for those other 2 docks. She's played no Strength of a Raging Fire this game either. She did ink 1, but no, she has not played a Strength of a Raging Fire. She has not played a Thunderbolt this game. So at this point, what can I do here? Looks like she is going to take out that Dumbo. You see the work Tiny Adversary's done this game. Tiny Adversary is letting a lot of trades happen that might not normally be able to happen. Now, no ink to be able to move damage, but moving damage might not have been super impactful anyways. So DKP can just turn sideways this turn, go to 18. No, 17. He's got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So he would go to 19 this turn if he just turned sideways. But we're going to go ahead and draw because why not? It's the same amount of lore regardless of how you do it. So here's the question. Would Dumbo be even half as good if you did not get the 1 lore from Dumbo's effect? That's my question for you guys. So going to quest with the bell, gaining that 2 lore. And then what do we do here? We go 4 and then probably 4 for Dumbo. That is 3 Dumbos on the board, a guidebook for good measure, left with a hypnotic strength. And ladies and gentlemen, I do not think there's any way that Amethyst Steel can find their way out of this hole. Representing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 on board. That's pretty rough. So you can answer both Dumbos with the genies. Cheshire Cat can take out. You can boost. No, you can only boost once per turn with the 1 Cheshire Cat. So you could send Cheshire Cat to take out Belle. But that leaves 3 on board. Let's see what she has in hand. We're boosting. We're going to move 2 damage. Move that to 5. What do you got? Another Cheshire Cat would be really big right now, being able to move 2 more damage. So we do take that out. Let's see what she had underneath. Hades and a Palace Guard. Looks like we have a Captain Hook, Yzma, and DKP is able to go to 19. I'm going to pop that guidebook. Hades, so going to get to draw 2 most likely because he's going to target that Yzma with the Hades. I'd imagine draw first with the guidebook. Draw 2, see what you get just in case. Maybe instead of a Hades, you just play the other Hades. Instead of in looking for a deal, you play Infernal Schemer. But he does opt to just play looking for a deal. Let's DKP draw 2 cards. And at this point, I think you just saving that guidebook, opting to not use that draw there. Develop the body with the Hades, looking for a deal. And then a couple plays left to do. Looks like he has 1, 2, 3 ink left. 3 ink, so there we'll just have a good bird's eye view of both of them. Throw the Cheshire Cat down. Boost it. Okay, so we did have 5 ink left then. Take out the Dumbo. Quest for 1. Take out the other. Take out both genies, not the Dumbo. Take out both genies. Quest for 1. And then now we're looking in a good place. Go to 18. So you turn the Yzma sideways for sure, because I think she is in top deck mode. So the Yzma will always turn sideways. All right, she's not even gonna do it. She's like, there's nothing I can do here to get out of this hole. So we'll give it to DKP in a match that took, I think there was 15 minutes left on the timer. So definitely running close there. If they would have had to have gone to a game 3. So really good show, really good game. DKP running a list with a lot of one drops. I believe he's definitely on 4 develops. He looks like he's definitely on 4 develops, and then we saw 3 Rafikis at least, probably 4 Basils. So 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 one drops. I am curious if we go here. I'm going to pull something up on the other screen here. So while they have this conversation that I cannot translate, I'm not even going to, nope, no translation. But I want to see, I'm pulling up the list that he's running for the LCCC that he ran for last round, and we can kind of see how similar it is. I just have to make sure I pull up the current round and not the previous round and not the current round. All right. Here we go. Okay, we can actually pull it up. Okay. So this is what he was running for the LCCC. And this was last round, so we can pull it up and not have to worry about spoiling anything for anybody. Oh, he's not on. Oh, here I thought he was on Blurple for the LCCC, but he's not even on Blurple for the LCCC. Okay, so never mind then. He is on Blue Steel for the LCCC. So never mind. I thought we'd get a chance to look at what he was running, but we will not. So, all right. Headed over for an interview, but that interview will also not be in English, as I can imagine, or we're just going to stand here awkwardly. So, now, in the meantime, why do you like Gothel over Cusco? Oh, you're talking about the Brainiac list. Okay, give me just a second. Let me set something up here. Close this. Okay, so why do I like the Gothel over the Cusco? I'm getting rearranged now that I'm actually on the camera. What is wrong with my camera? Why are you being weird? The reason for that is 100% because of Amethyst Steel. So Cusco being a 5/5 comes down, which is great, and being able to kind of answer cards in a way that's like, hang on, we'll check if this is in English. So let me check this out really quick.
For being here.
Hello.
Actually, long time no see. Kinda,
Okay.
because we faced each other like 2 weeks ago in Barcelona. I'm still crying for my loss, and so you win today too. So the last time we played together, you used to play Blue Steel, okay? And this time, I saw that you played also another CCQ. In the meanwhile, you decided to play Blarpole. Why did you choose to change your mind about this deck and come back to Blarpole, because you played it in DLC Bologna? And so, what are your feelings so far?
Yeah, so Blue Steel is a fun deck and it's a decent deck. But my issue with that deck at some point was that people knew how to play against it. Because when I played it, like almost nobody knew how to play against it. And now people know, and they're just going wider, like playing 2 or 3 things per turn. And as a Blue Steel player, usually you can only play 1 thing per turn. And this annoyed me a little bit, because when they know what to do, especially when you miss Cindy, then they can just overwhelm you. And that's why I decided to play another Sapphire deck, because I also played Sapphire Emerald, Green Blue before. But I just don't like that gameplay in general, like where you have to wait for your combo pieces. I mean, it is really strong when you pull it off, but my issue is just if you don't have it, it's not fun. And Blapple in set 9 and also now was always a deck that if you don't miss ramp, you usually play so many 4 and 5 drops that you can always curve into it and then do something, right? As you saw, like you can do something. And now you also saw some new cards, like I played the 5-cost Hades, the 6-cost Demona. Like a lot of new tools to make the deck even more fun, I think. Of course, my opponent opened not well each time, but that's something. Unlucky. Yeah, that's it's part of the game, and
yes.
I guess true. One of my hope on the draw, because I mean, if Purple Steel opens perfectly on the play, like what deck can beat that, right? So yeah, I just hope that they just missing one piece of their perfect hand, and then I can just build up my board, and as you saw, like just use Demona and just to wipe their board, because then their board is small, my board is big, and if you guys know how to play purple in general, purple matchups, whoever has the board usually wins. And yeah, that was my game plan.
Yeah,
and yeah, I
enjoyed it. And how many Demona are you playing right now? Because we can see, as we see, it's very, very powerful against Purple Steel.
Yeah, so at the beginning I said I play 0. So in Singapore, DLC Singapore, I played Purple. I said I play 0 because I didn't really understood her. The main issue was I played second star, and now you saw me playing Book. And without second star, the Demona makes more sense, because if you use Demona to sing second star, then she is locked. Like, she cannot ready again. Yeah. That's really bad. And with the Book, you can decide when to draw, and that's really good. So now I'm running like 3 Demona. I thought long about playing 4, but the issue is I had to fit the develops in. You saw them activating multiple times. Mainly so I can just skip like all my bad cards, because I play a lot of bad cards like Rafikis and Tipos and Bezos off top. So like many times I can just skip 2 draws and find stuff. Like one turn, I think you saw, like I activate, develop, found my second Demona because I inked the first one, and it was like the game deciding move.
Yes.
Destroyed her board and then just won from there. So yeah, maybe 4 is good, but the other issue with Demona is like she's only good on that moment, exactly that moment, and usually afterwards, like especially when you have 0 cards and then now you're forced to play the Demona out, and you're playing against a deck that is faster than you, which is everything besides Mirror Match.
Yeah.
And maybe Blue Steel and Green Blue. They just draw 3 cards and they draw a 4th card for turn and then play 4 cards out, and you might just lose. So she's really bad in top deck mode. That's why I play also the 5-cost Hades.
Yes.
So far, to be honest, the 5-cost Hades was really bad. But it's better in the top deck mode than Demona, just because, like, if both players barely have anything, you don't want to give them cards, especially if they are close to 20 lore. Then you want to play like the Hades. Either as usually they remove the body, but yeah, it's like between those 2 cards. I don't know which one's better yet, because again, sometimes I just cannot utilize the Demona. But so far, to be honest, the Hades never came up. So
yeah. So excepting from Hades, you are pretty happy with the deck list you're voting here to the tournament.
Yeah, I think I play almost every single new card that you can play, like the Cat, the Book, Demona, the Hades. Like, it's really fun.
Yeah.
So that card got so much new tools.
So now your score is 5-1, right?
Yes.
5 win and 1 lose. So DKP, I hope to see you later in this interview at higher standings. And so thank you very much for being here.
No problem.
And see you later. And
sorry, before closing up, we have a lorely gift for everyone that win on stream. It's a good memory.
Ah, nice. Thank you.
It's a Polaroid of your win.
Oh, thank you.
So now we will move in 3, 2, 1 with another interview. We are coming back for you. Bye.
All right. There's supposed to be another interview. We'll see if there is another interview. But yeah, to answer while we wait for that interview, that may or may not be coming, and if it's in English or not. Gothel over Cusco. The big reason is Gothel is a 6 or has 6 willpower. That's really the biggest reason. Cusco is better into blue decks Gothel is going to be better into Amethyst Steel. And you just need that ability to trade. Because Gothel, if you play Cusco, Cusco trades into something, and maybe a Lexington, something like that, and they can trade back into it with a Palace Guard. So everything that Cusco can trade into against Amethyst Steel, Gothel can also trade into with the extra 2 health, which is extremely impactful for a lot of different board states. So I just really value that 2 health. And then I also really value once...
Senza dubbio avrei voluto accoglierla oggi con un altro risultato, no? Però, Michelle, prima di tutto, come stai?
That's not in English, so we won't have that one up. Unless anybody really wants to hear it. But I think if you really want to hear it, there's non-English streams that you could get more impact out of it. So
Bene, bella esperienza.
Sei stata un po' sfortunata.
I'm sure they have great things to say. I just don't know what they're saying, so I'm sorry. And we did say this is an English stream. So the other part is once you start understanding what the deck is trying to do and you start setting up your plays correctly, going into the late game against blue decks, is you can use... So you play your baby Gothel when you get up to a lot of ink. So like last night against Blurple, 2 games in a row, I was rocking 15 ink. So what I can then do is I can play a baby Gothel to bounce something for 5. I can bounce, or I can then shift the mother Gothel shift to bounce another thing, and then I can then play another baby Gothel to bounce both of them back to my hand. And then now I have an infinite loop as long as they do not remove my baby Gothel, because now every single turn I'm able to bounce one of their characters, because I then shift, or bounce 2 of them, to be honest, because I then shift the mother Gothel to bounce something, and then I play my own baby Gothel to bounce that again, and then maybe I play a second baby Gothel, and you lose the infinite bounce loop there, but you are able to bounce a lot of stuff over 2 turns. So I really value that as well. The Cusco, though, Cusco being able to just remove something from the game is extremely impactful also. Cusco letting you put it on the bottom of your deck versus back in their hand is really important. But yeah, so that's the reason for it. That's why we're rocking the 2... that's why we're rocking the Mother Gothels over the Cuscos right now. So I think going to... I think going to Cusco and Mother Gothel is not out of the question yet, running both. But like you said, that is massive as well. The Cusco being able to sing, because with Mother Gothel, you have to have a 2-drop down, or Webby. You can't, with Cusco, you only have to have a 1-drop down to sing Stopped Chaos. So if you have a 1-drop down and you shift Cusco, you bounce something with Cusco, and you bounce 2 things with Stopped Chaos. So that is really impactful. It's just that's going to require the 1-drop, the Cusco shift, the baby Cusco, the Stopped Chaos in his tracks. So you require 4 cards for that. And where it's not unheard of by any stretch of the imagination, because you have a lot of 1-drops. You have 3 Stopped Chaos. So it is possible. So, and honestly, being able to do that, it's going to be really important, because then you're not trading with Cusco anyways. You're just bouncing their entire board by the time you get that down. And then blue steel, Cusco with blue steel is really good, because they're only playing 1 character per turn, and all of their characters they play each turn are doing on-turn effects, or what do they call them? ETB effects? Is that enter the battlefield effects? So enter the board, whatever you want to call it. So they're doing something. Hades inking something, Vincenzo dealing 3 damage, Horseman doing what it does, Tinkerbell putting 1 damage, all of those things. So Cusco's really good into that match. So maybe there's a world where you go to 4 Stopped Chaos, you run the Cuscos, and for Amethyst Steel, you're relying on seeing that pop off right there. Because do I must have alerts on. I apologize. I normally don't have alerts on when I do these, so I don't have them displayed, but I heard it. So let me... But yeah, so maybe that is the route that we can try, and I'll try that, where I just think Mother Gothel is a lot more impactful, the baby Gothel, than the 2-drop Cusco. So that's something as well. So so maybe that's something to look at though. Aristotle 16 with the follow. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that a lot. So you are a champion among champions. 5 ink feels so expensive too, at least for me, for the baby Gothel. Does that usually feel more impactful than say playing a Donald and a 1-drop? So it's two completely different things, right? Because the Donald plus the 1-drop is drawing you a card, getting you board advantage, things like that, setting up a shift line like Clarabelle shift line. Whereas the Mother Gothel, you're playing the Mother Gothel for a very important reason. You're bouncing something, right? And you're bouncing something that has to to gain tempo in that way, to set up the Gothel shift, to threaten the Gothel shift is really important. So maybe you bounce against a purple and amethyst deck, maybe you bounce their genie, and you bounce their genie, you pay 5, which hurts to do, but you bounce their genie so that then they're stuck with an uninkable that they'll probably play. So then they replace it. So that helps feed your Clarabelle if you have a Clarabelle coming down soon. So they're both doing very different things. And that's one of the difficulties with the deck, that green-purple control. And for anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, this is the list that we're talking about right now. And I think that's part of the reason a lot of people don't enjoy the deck is because there's just a lot of micro decisions that have to be made throughout the game with this deck. And it's just it's super taxing. It really is. And also you're feeding your opponent cards, which people don't really enjoy either. So, but yeah, sometimes the right move, there are games where my 5 ink play, I'll only have 5 ink on the field, is bouncing a character with Mother Gothel. So, it depends on what's in your hand, what you're trying to set up, and what they're trying to do. So if they only have a Clarabelle shift down, then maybe I play the 5-cost Gothel to bounce that Clarabelle shift, because now if they have a Clarabelle shift down, the big 7-cost Clarabelle, if I play Donald Duck plus a 1-drop, they're going to your welcome one of those characters. So that doesn't feel good, because then they probably just win at that point because I'm not developing anything. Whereas if I played Mother Gothel to bounce their Clarabelle, then they grow a bigger hand. They have to replay that stuff. They can't sing You're Welcome and play Clarabelle at the same time unless they have other characters on the board. So trying to control things like that is going to be really important as well, that playing just 2 characters with no ETBs isn't going to help control anything. Exactly. Most of the time you're not getting the draw off of Cusco, so that is really impactful as well. AJH asked the question earlier, what's your favorite card to play with currently of all time? Design art. Ooh. So currently my favorite card to play with is probably going to be Amethyst Chromicon. I have been obsessed with Amethyst Chromicon. There is something that is so magical about having an infinite amount of cards in my hand. I love having the resources and the choices to make. Absolutely love Amethyst Chromicon. My first question whenever I play a deck is, am I going to be happy with how many resources are in the deck? Love Amethyst Chromicon. Probably my favorite card this set, to play currently. Of all time, Whole New World. Same thing, resources. I love having resources. It's why I like green-purple control so much, is because there's a lot of things about it that remind me of Steel Song, and I loved A Whole New World. I loved that card. I'm very excited for Infinity Weekend so I can get a playset of those Whole New Worlds. I don't even care if they're only worth a quarter. I don't care. A lot of people are crying and complaining, and filter, they're crying and complaining. We'll use those words. And because it's not going to be super expensive, or because they didn't send them out, or they weren't attendee things for attending worlds when originally you were supposed to be able to buy attendees tickets. And I don't care if they're worth a quarter. I don't care if they're worth $100. I'm excited to get a playset of them because they look really cool. They're fun. I like what Ravensburger is doing, or what they did with them, to encourage the Infinity format, because if you don't encourage the Infinity format, people are not going to play Infinity. That's just the way it is. So they're encouraging the Infinity format with something like this Infinity Weekend. They're encouraging the Infinity format with an Infinity DLC. Do I wish there were more DLCs? So one of our 3 DLCs were not Infinity? Yes. But I am a fan of them encouraging a gameplay style that otherwise people would not play. So I will give them a shout out. So I might get some hate for that. That's perfectly fine. You guys are allowed to hate. But yes, I'm really excited about the Whole New World alternate art that is coming out. But Whole New World is my favorite card of all time. And then design art. Oh boy, that's tough. I'm gonna have to say the Set Champs Ursula. And the reason being that it holds a very core memory for me. I just started playing Lorcana when Set Champs Set 4 started. So I started about a week before Set 4 Set Champs. And so I went into it. I'm super competitive, so I'm like, I'm going to go to these Set Champs. Went to my first one 2 weeks after playing. It did not go great. Went to my second one. I got second place, got my Ursula, was very happy. Went to my third one, and I was able to win first and get my Set Champs, get that Ursula promo and the playmat. And I think the card just looks good. My wife's hair is purple. Our gym, Molly Logic Fitness, is purple. My favorite color to wear is purple, dark purple for the record. I think dark purple is just a beautiful color for formal attire. So that would be it. The Set Champs Ursula. After that, probably the Set Champs Stitch. I like the look of that card. So yeah. And then after that, I love what they did with the Whispers foiling. As much as I hate foil Lorcana cards because they Pringle so easily, I do like what they did with the Whispers foiling. I think those cards are beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So, that's that. And now we just kind of wait. No timer or nothing. I really enjoy the events that have a timer going, where you can so you can kind of like do things around the house and then tune in and be like, oh, we have 5 more minutes. So I'll do the dishes with the last 5 minutes and see what happens. But we do have, we'll pull up another screen because I saw that the C20 Lord just went live. So CCS should be starting soon. Really wanted to make it down. Okay, so CCS, they're still in interviews. So nothing happening yet with CCS. They're still in the pregame show. So what's up, Evie? How you doing? We're just chilling. No Pixelborn Connect games today. Just chilling, watching the CCQ day 1. So, hey, there we go. Looks like we're going to be getting somewhere soon. So, I'm not saying that. What's going on, coach? What's going on? I thought it said, at first I thought it was put me in, coach, and then I leaned in closer and realized that's not what it says. So I'm glad I read it. All right, so it looks like we're going to be starting soon. This is not in English, so that's why it's muted right now.
Okay, set the up.
Yeah, not in English, so that's why it's muted right now. So we'll kind of wait for that to start, and yeah. Yeah, CCS, really wanted to go to it. I was planning on going for it, and I got the dates mixed up. I thought Infinity was this weekend, and I thought Infinity was this weekend, and I thought that CCS was next weekend. But I got that mixed up. It's vice versa. CCS this weekend, Infinity next weekend. And what really sucks about that is I saw a post that said that the next CCS isn't going to be in Atlanta, which is unfortunate because I'm not flying to Texas. I love Lorcana, I really do, and I really want to see everybody, but I draw the line at flying to events. That's just kind of my line, right? Because then it's all that travel time, and I just prefer driving. I love to drive, so I will drive to any event. Just not a fan of flying to a bunch of events. Just not my thing. I don't know what that says. It's a quiz though. The chat thinks it's Robin Hood. Oh, okay. So it already happened and it's already over. Yeah, that matchup is going to be super fast. And that Dogs player is going to be mad. Well, okay, here's the thing. If you're the Dogs player, you can't even be upset that your first matchup was against Purple Steel. Like, if you go into any event thinking that Amethyst Steel will not be the most represented deck, then you're just wrong. It's Amethyst Steel's been the most represented deck at tournaments for the last 3 weekends now, I think. Last 2 weekends at least. So you have to understand that if you're going to be going to an event, Amethyst Steel will be the deck that you have to figure out because you will be playing it. So that's why things like Blurple can be such a good matchup. I think Green Blue and Blue Steel, like, here's the thing. Amethyst Steel, in my opinion, has no bad matchup, and that's what makes Amethyst Steel so good. There's matchups that they're closer to 50-50 in, like Blurple, but I do not think they drop below 50% in anything. Now, Ink decks, if we pull up the Ink decks matrix, it might say differently, but the deck, when it has all of the draw that it has, when it has all of the draw that it has all of the just everything. Its reach is going to be massive. I got to close one of these. My laptop's getting mad. Yeah, so even on Inkdex Matrix, we're looking at a minimum. Okay, that's 50-50 into itself. 51% into Green Blue, 56 currently into Blurple. Now, this isn't going to be super accurate, right? Because this is looking at all of the games that are reported, and you can't really take all of the games that are reported because that's not. Oh yeah, crap. Sorry. There. Thank you. So here's the 2 weeks, right? Let me zoom in a little. So we look at Amethyst Steel, and sorry, I'm gonna keep clicking back and forth because I don't want to miss it. So Amethyst Steel showing 54% win rate against 1,300 decks, almost 1,400. Its lowest matchup, we've got 51% into Dogs, Green Purple. Yeah, no, I feel you, man. If the caster's talking about something on screen, I'd rather see what's on screen than the caster. So, and this isn't going to be a perfect representation, right? Because this is looking at all of the matches in Top Cut, or all of the matches period that were reported. So that's not a perfect representation because you're going to have players that jump on Dogs for the first time, jump on Blurple for the first time, and they're not the best players, the best pilots of that deck. So do I think that Amethyst Steel this number is accurate? I do not. I do not think that Amethyst Steel has a 56% win rate into Blurple. I think that is much more closer to 50% in how that matchup's going to go. So I also feel like it's going to be a little bit higher with this matchup. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is 23 matches against Dogs. There's not a lot of people playing Dogs. 206 matches on Dogs, and I think realistically, I think Dogs is one of the stronger decks of the set if you've been piloting it for a long time. Because Dogs, if it sees Chromicon, then it makes it really difficult for Amethyst Steel and a lot of these other decks because they have to be able to answer all these Dogs. Spooky Sight has not been a super reliable answer to Dog decks, so there's that as well. Yeah, Dogs is awful. Okay, don't play Dogs. Yes, I'd actually prefer you do not play Dogs. At League last night, round one, I paired against a Dog player. We didn't play. I was playing Green Purple Control, and turn one, he opened up Lady, and that was it. I said, nope, I'm not playing it. I need to complete playsets in my binder. So then I went into the bulk box to go buy cards. So keep that in mind. So Green Purple Brainiac is as close to a 0% win rate. as any deck can be into another deck, in my opinion. That you can win a game, but he was on the play. So maybe I won my game 2, but like there's just next to 0% chance of success in that matchup. So we didn't even play. Within 2 minutes, we were done, and I went over to the bulk box and completed things I needed for my binder. So, and I was okay with that, because even if we played it, instead of the game lasting 1 or 2 minutes, it would have lasted 6 minutes. Majority of that time being shuffling, which I don't need to spend a lot of time doing. But dogs is awful. Do not play dogs. The unfortunate part is we now have 3 people on dogs in our local meta. So it makes me very sad. It makes me very sad. So I don't know what I'm going to jump on next. But I don't want to spend the majority of my day losing to dogs. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll figure that out. I'm stubborn. I'll probably stay on green-purple control. The other issue with green-purple control from a selfish content creator standpoint is I've never had gameplay commentaries that do so poorly on YouTube, because people just don't enjoy watching green-purple control, because they don't feel like they're ever going to play it, because for a multitude of reasons. And so yeah, the gameplay commentaries do really badly compared to my other gameplay commentaries on other stuff. So from a selfish content creator standpoint, I probably should start playing something different, but no other deck brings me as much joy as green-purple control does. That deck is just so much fun. But what else could we do? So this is also the problem with the Inkdex matrix. So it says control here and Brainiac down here. So if you look at some of the decks that they consider control, they are actually Brainiac lists. So it gets a little weird, the Inkdex matrix sometimes, in trying to find stuff. The other thing that everybody swears by, the Fight Club, their matrix does not separate green-purple control from green-purple tempo. So keep that in mind too when you're looking at it. But we have a match. Let's see what's happening here. We have not green-yellow dogs. Against Amethyst Steel, though, both players 6-0. So it looks like we put DKP on earlier, not because everyone drew, simply because they wanted to throw on the reigning world champ. So let's check out how this matchup goes. Is it going to be a repeat of the CCS round 1? Ooh, but looks like there's a 6-cost tramp in there. So that's going to be really interesting to see if he gets any value out of that, or if he plays that card. So Amethyst Steel going first in game 1, going to be really big impact here. And let's see how this gentleman will rock and roll. Looks like they're using an iPad for their game, for the table. Wait, that iPad is pointed. What is that iPad pointed at? It doesn't matter. This is a me problem. Okay, so we get a lady down. Lady comes down, of course, when you have a tramp down, getting the quest for more. No. Yeah, no, when you have lady down, tramp is cheaper. There we go. Palace Guard and Olaf. Oh, I hate that. I hate that. Guys, have a little respect for your opponent, right? Like, the Amethyst Steel player was actively playing cards, and he's reaching underneath him to take his card to read it. Didn't ask to see it, like, impacting the state of play. Like, come on. Show a little bit of respect for your opponent, all right? Like, I understand just taking it. I'm not a fan of that, but taking it while they're playing the game is a little ridiculous. That is, yeah. Respect your opponents. Ask to touch their things. We learned that in kindergarten, people. Anyways, rant over. We play a Mowgli. Mowgli hits nothing, which is a massive tempo loss, or a massive loss for the dogs player there. And then Amethyst Steel coming down with that Cheshire Cat. So that's going to be really impactful because now you can do things like Olaf, so they can bounce whatever they want, which is great. You can start boosting Cheshire Cat. Then maybe you use Olaf to bounce Cheshire Cat and the card underneath if you need card draw. So that's going to be really impactful. I mean, if you're the Amethyst, if you're the Dogs player at this point, I keep wanting to say his name and I just don't know how to say that. So if you're the Dogs player at this point, maybe you just take out the Olaf right now. Hope maybe they bounce a character. They probably wouldn't, but at least you're reducing some lore from them. You're taking away strength value, which is important. So it looks like he's on a Circle of Life list, I would think, where he's running Surfer Stitch and he's running the 6-cost Tramp. So I would assume there's Circle of Life in this list of his. So we'll see if he gets to pop off at all. Now, if he does get to pop off a Circle of Life, it's not going to change anything because he has nothing in the discard. So maybe it must not be a Circle of Life list then. It must be a more mid-range list because we would have seen an Yzma or a Bobby or something. Oh, let me turn those back off while the match is going on. But Max Gentleman, thank you very much for the follow, brother. I'm very appreciative of that. So I am going to turn those alerts off, though, so everyone can see the match and not those big follow alerts, because that's what they're here for, right? So Zacomo. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way, right? Zacomo? No. No. Is that true? Not What? So when I see ZH, I think Xin Zhao, right? From League of Legends. But I was here for the alerts. Is there? Yeah, apparently there is a match. So looking at the match, we see a Dumbo come down. The Amethyst Steel, like Jock. So Giacomo. Oh, gosh. I feel you. Okay, so is it Giacomo? Is that correct? Is that the right way to say it? But he throws the Dumbo down. He's just turning everything sideways, which is an excellent decision. We see the Tramp come down, letting you boost one of your characters. So you do have the opportunity now to take out a Palace Guard if you want to, and you can take out an Olaf. So whatever you use to go into the Olaf will be banished. But again, it doesn't look like close enough. All right. But we have to slow him down, right? We can't just let him continue to quest. Now, if we do challenge into him, the issue with that is that if we top deck Tramp, we're going to get super punished for that. But if he continues to go super wide, even if we top deck Tramp, Tramp's not going to save us from anything because they're already so far ahead. Next turn, they quest 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They quest to 11 next turn, 12 if they quested the Cheshire Cat. So, yes, we can find a Tramp, but is that going to be enough? Is that going to be enough? Tramp, of course, would allow you, if you are on Circle of Life, you could do that. You could find Circle of Life and then discard your 2 high-cost characters. No, I'm over it. I'm sure his name is great when you know how to pronounce it, because now I want to say Shushkomo, but I think that's even worse. I don't think that's any closer. We see a Lexington and a Captain Hook come down. So we see Amethyst Steel player opting to Zushkomo. Like Shush, but Zush. Zushkomo. You guys are the worst. All right, so we see, does he top deck a Tramp? It is a Tramp. So he does top deck a Tramp. So if he is on Circle of Life, he's going to be able to play that. He's going to be able to dig, find the circle, and be able to play whatever he wants. So he will be able to sing it. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he can sing Circle of Life, but his opponent, he can't even sing Under the Sea this turn. So He can't even sing. No, he can sing Under the Sea, but he can't sing Malicious, Mean, and Scary. So even if he finds Prince Philip plus the Prince Philip combo, Malicious, Mean, and Scary, and Prince Philip, he doesn't have enough like to be able to down to be able to do both. And his opponent is questing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 next turn to go to 18 and in top deck mode. So there is that. Maybe if you do have Malicious, Mean, and Scary and Prince Philip, you discard the Philip and next turn. Oh, wow. So he's on. See, he's just grabbing the man's Enchanted. All right, he's just grabbing the man's $250 Enchanted like he owns the thing. I don't like people. Anyways, so this is a really interesting list of his. So his list is actually Lost in the Woods, right? So Lost in the Woods, letting him take damage or lower the attack of characters, very reminiscent of what we saw last set before the Prince Philip shift line. So that is something that we have not seen in a hot minute, because even at the DLC, we saw people on Under the Sea, but we did not see them running Lost in the Woods. So very interesting choice. Been using that for a long time now in my dogs. All right, so some people still clearly running it and running it with success, because a lot of the time Amethyst Steel, if they are worried about Under the Sea, then a lot of their characters don't get impacted by Under the Sea, so they don't have to worry about it. So Lost in the Woods is going to be able to let you buy more time. So really interested to see what happens now, though, because he got rid of Under the Sea and Lost in the Woods. So really curious about what he opted to keep in his hand if he got rid of both of those. All right, so it looks like we are going to see a Circle of Life come down here. Okay, so probably bring back Stitch. Draws 2. I mean, maybe it's more popular overseas, right? I haven't played overseas, but I do feel like, and this could just be like another tramp. Oh, man. Did he discard a tramp, or did he have another tramp in hand? Okay, so there is a Circle of Life in there, but maybe it's more popular overseas, where that's just part of it. They don't mind people just grabbing their cards. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. I haven't played a lot overseas, and I don't know. Drew a tramp off Stitch. Okay. Look at that. See, he just holds his hand out and says, hey, can I see those? And then just hands them over. Good for him. Wasn't that so polite? Okay, now let's see how he responds. So he does have the lady down. Lady's going to be able to challenge into Olaf, which I think is something that you have to do. Yep. So you do that. You challenge the Olaf. And then did that lady not have any damage? He had a 3 dice on it. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be there. But okay, so he takes the Olaf out. Now, Amethyst Steel is top decking. No, he's not. He played the dock. I didn't even see the dock over there. There's a dock over there. My webcam for Pixelborn Connect is blocking the dock. So, counting triggers. Oh, that would make sense. And it just happened to be on the lady. Okay. Because, yeah, Amethyst Steel didn't challenge last turn. So, there's no way that damage would have been on it. So, okay, so Amethyst Steel, though, representing 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 on board. Now, the Dogs player representing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on his board. So, it looks like we're going to draw with the Dumbo. It's wild how this game was practically over, and then now just in the course of one turn, because we top deck Tramp, if he had not top decked Tramp, the game was over. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But because he top decked Tramp, able to get down a second Tramp and a Surfer Stitch in the same turn feels pretty impactful, as well as drawing 2 cards off of the Surfer Stitch. So it's not as easy for Amethyst Steel now to just say, let's turn everything sideways. But at the same time, Amethyst Steel was on the play, Slap Happy. So at the same time, do you really want to challenge into a bunch of stuff? Because we don't know what's in his hand, but you do go up to 17. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So your opponent is still forced to do all of the trades unless they found an Under the Sea. So I feel like you still just quest. You just quest with everything, and then he's forced to trade with everything. So he's not going to be able to quest either. Okay, so he inks the Palace Guard, plays a Calhoun, which is going to be really, really important card here. And then now he's just thinking, do I quest with everything? Now, I wonder... Quest for Slap Lady, move to... So that's also what I was thinking, is I wonder if we should have boosted the lady. Or if we should have boosted the Cheshire Cat, maybe. And then we could have played the Palace Guard. He's got 1 card in hand. If it's a Giant Cobra, then he just wins. Okay, so looking at that hand, we have an Under the Sea. We have a Circle of Life. And... something else. We have 2 Under the Seas in the hand of the Dogs player. So quick, fast, and in a hurry, we're going to go ahead and under that sea. Now, using Mowgli, though, is a really dangerous idea, because if you use Mowgli to sing Under the Sea, then Calhoun challenges into the Mowgli and goes to 19, and then your Under the Sea is not answering the Cheshire Cat, the Lexington, or the Dumbo. So you have to trade into the Lexington and... Okay, no Under the Sea. We're searching again. Let's see what we're finding. What do we find? What are we looking for? Was there another Surfer Stitch? There was another Surfer Stitch. So we do get to draw 2 cards. If we find Lost in the Woods, that will be pretty helpful. Also, if we can control enough of his board... Okay, so we're just digging now, because we have to be able to remove enough cards. Under the Sea, of course, going to be able to remove a lot of it, but that still leaves 1, 2, 3, 4 on board with just questing, 5 on board questing with the Calhoun. Wow, I don't know. So close to being able to find a way out of the hole that he was in. Just by top decking that Tramp. If he had quested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So, oh man, absolutely crazy. Crazy how that game almost got flipped on its head because of that Tramp. And kudos to him. If he had Lost in the Woods was the next card. Is that what they flipped over? Oh no. It is. Yeah, that was wild. And what hurts even more is that we saw him get rid of a Lost in the Woods earlier on. So if he had kept that, then he would have been able to answer the Calhoun. But would he have been able to do as much damage when he did quest into, or if he would have kept that Lost in the Woods, what would that have meant that he had to discard is the question. So we'll see how this one goes with him being on the play. And let's see what happens. We could ask AI really quick. We'll Google it. We'll Google a translator and be like, hey, just tell me how to pronounce this Italian name. I'm assuming Italian. So we'll ask Google later and see what Google tells me. We'll keep that Sega alive of Meyer cannot pronounce non-English names. Yeah, I know you told me. I still said it wrong. Say it fast. Giacomo. Giacomo? Giacomo? I just don't feel I feel like I'm just butchering his name. I'm disrespecting the man so. Oh, Giacomo. Look at me. I speak multiple languages. Yes, perfect. Um, Interesting that the UI shows he took game 1. Yeah, they had an issue with this last game too, where they marked the wrong one. So, but we do know that he did not. So, it will be our secret. Yes, I do see why you said ZH now. So, Giacomo. All right. All right. So we see the Circle of Life going to the Inkwell. We do have a second Circle of Life. A much better early turn here. Bobby going to discard so no Circle of Life target. So just opting to discard that go-go. So what's going to have to happen is we're going to set up all of our singers and then... Ooh, okay, so he's going the tramp route. So what he's going to do is he's going to set up that Shanti, and then the next turn he's going to set up... next turn, he's going to then play the Tramp. So he's going to go Shanti on turn 3 into Tramp on turn 4. Use Tramp to then discard whatever big character he wants, and then he can use Shanti plus Bobby plus Mowgli to sing Circle of Life. And so on turn 4, he ends up with 5 characters on board, and what is hopefully what he would love to see, a Surfer Stitch, which is going to let him draw 2 cards. Yeah. Oh, did you notice that I haven't been saying the Amethyst Steel player's name as well? Good on you for noticing that. Some people say Jacques like Jack. Yeah, I assumed it wasn't Jack. I at least knew that much. So, okay. So what we're going to see here is he just has to figure out what he wants to ink. I would assume you ink the lady here and throw the Shanti down. Would be my thought. But I'm known to be wrong from time to time. Roger, I guess. Okay, so we see the Shanti, and he does ink a Circle of Life. Really interesting to go that route, but at the same time, when you do sing Circle of Life, the Amethyst Steel player is probably going to clear your entire board. So it's going to be really hard for you to sing a second Circle of Life. On top of that, your Tramp has to be able to discard 2 big characters for Circle of Life to be impactful. So I think that's actually a pretty keen decision to go that route of, why isn't Ariel on screen? I wonder if the commentators are talking about Ariel being a singer 5, like Shanti being a singer 5, would be my thoughts. But so really interesting play there. By recognizing that for me to play a second Circle of Life, I have to get really lucky with my Tramp. And Tramp has to find 2 big characters to discard. So I do think that's a really good play. On top of, my opponent would have to not banish all of my characters, which they're going to be able to do, especially with that Captain Hook. Both Captain Hooks are going to be able to challenge the Shanti, whichever one it is, and then the Jafar will be able to take out the Bobby, and the Black Heron able to take out the Mowgli. So he is going to be able to take out all of the singers except for whatever he pulls from Tramp, or if he's able to get a big character from Circle of Life. So there goes the Ursula we don't need anymore. There's the Surfer Stitch. So there's the Surfer Stitch. That's exactly the card that he wanted to see, because now he's able to sing the Circle of Life with his other 3 characters, get that Surfer Stitch down, draw 2 cards, and then have a 2/6/2 and a 4/8/2 on the board, able to challenge that Stitch, able to challenge into anything he wants. So we get rid of those. Now we're going to see... I assume we're going to see the Circle of Life come down this turn. Okay, we do turn sideways. We get Circle of Life. We play the Stitch. We draw 2. And then now we are definitely in this game with Amethyst Steel only being at 3, and he's going to use his board to trade this turn. That Stitch is going to be able to put in a lot of work trading back. Now, the nice thing is, though, where the green-yellow player, his Giacomo, his characters do not have a lot of attack, that means that Amethyst Steel is going to be able to challenge into him and keep the tempo. They're going to be able to keep the board alive because none of his characters are going to get banished. So really strong here, where there's a great turn by Giacomo, but is it going to be enough? Not being able, is it going to be enough where you lose your board and Amethyst Steel keeps all of their characters on the board? We do see a Genie come down. Genie being evasive is a hard card for Emerald Amber to answer. Also, just another big body for Cheshire Cat. So we take out... Okay, so we challenge there. Let's put the damage counters on, and then we challenge there. And then we have a pretty Giacomo? Are you saying it's Giacomo? I like Como better because Como is the nickname for Molly and myself. Because she's Molly and I'm Cody. So we've shortened it to say Como. Like Co for Cody, Mo for Molly, so Como. It's all anyways, we're really lame. All right, now you're both saying very different things. All right, you're both saying very different things, and we're doomed. I'm doomed to never have his name correct. So that's just how it's gonna go. Now, big bad monster is saying Giacomo. Big bad monster is saying it's Giacomo. Where'd it go? Giacomo. Anyways, we have a game going on because there's more going on than my ability to not pronounce people's names and disrespect them. So I do apologize to both of you gentlemen for messing up your names. But looking at the board, we do see some trades going on, and this is what we figured would happen. So now our Emerald Amber player is going to be able to just start controlling the board. He gets the extra draw from the lady, and then another card that does trade very well. So we have this ability now. Amethyst Steel only on 3 lore. They do get to quest for 2 here with the Genie, and they can't be punished for that. But we do know that there is at least 3 Under the Seas in the deck. So able to answer those Genies if they do come down. We do opt to take out Tramp there. So I think top-notch move to getting rid of that, because next turn they're questing. They would have quested for 6, which is representing 3 turns of getting to 20. Now, we do see Giant Cobra come down. Giant Cobra with no trigger, so not gaining that 2 lore. And then we quest with the Jafar going to 4. Let's see what we got now. It looks like we're going to have a lady coming down. We do see another Circle of Life. So Circle of Life could be sung this turn to bring back Tramp if we really wanted to go that route. We play the Bobby. You kind of want Circle of Life to find a better card like Surfer Stitch. A Surfer Stitch is a great card for that Circle of Life, because now we can go ahead, we can sing Circle of Life here instead of trading to get that Surfer Stitch down to draw 2 cards. Because or you could also just bring back Tramp, because what you need at this point, all right, there we go. Because if you found Lost in the Woods plus Under the Sea, you just kind of just win the game at that point. But when you also have a board this big, you also just kind of win the game. You can trade into anything you want, and then you can also just quest for a lot. He's questing for 1, and there's the Tramp. So the Tramp's still letting him find the Under the Sea and the Lost in the Woods as well. So searching, drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards here. And I'd imagine that's what he's looking for at this point. At this point, he's looking for Under the Sea. He's looking for Lost in the Woods to clear his opponent's board. And we'll see if he's able to find it. We get rid of a lot of aggro cards. I do like that his version is on it is on the aggro route. I like that he is on the ladies and the tramps, so he does have the ability to go under the control players. A lot of these Circle of Life decks were cutting their aggro line, and so if they didn't see the wombo combo, they kind of just got beat by those other by the slower decks because they just had no aggro. I don't think he's on Philip, but I don't believe I've seen an MMS. Looking at his hand, no. So he does. Oh, it looks like he does have Lost in the Sea, or Lost in the Woods, and Under the Sea. We still don't. So I think that he's cut. Unless you did see an MMS, I think he's cut the Prince Philip package to go the Under the Sea and Lost in the Woods package. Because I don't remember seeing an MMS, but I could be wrong, right? These tramp decks, they go through their cards so quickly that it's hard to really catch them all. But yes, he does have a very unique list. I am a fan of it. I like that there's the heavy aggro approach. I think that's really top tier. You're not running bad cards like Yzma, and you're just really relying on the tramp as being your main source of discard, which again, tramp is, if you're playing Under the Sea next turn anyways, do you care if he draws 2? Apparently you do. Okay. So, and the reason I say that is now he has 3 cards in hand. So if you clear his entire board with Under the Sea, Lost in the Woods next turn, and I guess you're not clearing all of it, but you're clearing a lot of it. Do you care if he do you care about your Stitch? Like I would think you'd rather him not draw 2 more cards with Hades because you're going to be clearing so much of his board. But looks like Genie's going to Quest for 2, not turning anything sideways. Yeah, so it's funny you say that about the Goofy line. So I've been playing a green-yellow deck on stream that people ask me to play, and it runs the Goofy shift line with Under the Sea, and it also runs the new song Della's Lullaby or something along those lines to reduce attack of characters as well. And it's been fun. Not good, but fun. But I think there's I do think there's something there. I just haven't been playing the deck well on stream. I'll say that. But it is a really cool line that you can take to use that. Okay, Scrump. Okay, yeah. So in Scrump being a great, yeah. So Scrump also allowing the deck to just do unique things. You get that aggro line. No, Scrump is the item. That's right. So Scrump being able to reduce attack of characters. So there's the Lost in the Woods. There's the Under the Sea. Being able to clear everything. Because Lost in the Woods gives -2 to everything. And he picks up. So, all right. There we go. So really quick while they get ready for the next game, I want to pull something up. So, no, not that. Stop it. I want to pull something up really quick while they get ready for this next game. So we're going to go to Dreamborn. Because I want to see... So I know Scrump, it's when you exert a character. Exert one of your characters. Chosen character gets -2 until the start of your turn. And then we'll go Lost in the Woods. All opposing characters get -2 until the start of their next turn. Interesting. 2-cost song versus 2-cost item. I guess one of the advantages would be that you can't... Lost in the Woods can be stripped from your hand, whereas Scrump cannot be stripped from your hand. So there is that going for you. Scrump could be hit with item removal, but not a lot of people are playing item removal. So that's something as well. So I think it would come down to personal preference. So You play both of them. Okay. That's going to keep people guessing. So my wife just mentioned me in a Dash Hound Owners Club, and I don't want to look at it. Okay, so for those that are just watching, Amethyst Steel won the dice roll. He is going to be on the play in game 3, as you can imagine, because he also lost game 2. So flop that around, and we'll see if Amethyst Steel is going to be able to repeat what happened game 1. Slap Happy does prefer Scrump. I like Lost in the Woods, I think, because it can stop the Prince Philip shift line. Oh, that's true. It can, because it's all opposing characters versus Scrump having to choose a character. Okay. Oh, that's true as well. Oh, that is very interesting, because so we see that we alter 4 for the Dog's Circle of Life player. But that's very true as well, being able to protect your characters with the Scrump. So yes, it is interesting. So you do mention that about the Pete. We've been seeing a lot of Amethyst Steel players opting to run Olaf when they're running Pete, because what happens is that when you run Olaf and Pete, let's say you throw Pete down, it stalls their ability to play MMS and get the Prince Philip combo going, and then you play Olaf the next turn, and then now if they MMS, yes, they clear your board, but you can bounce Pete and do something like that. You can strength your Olaf to bounce Pete back to your hand, and so you can play a never-ending amount of Petes, which is going to be really good into closing out these green-blue decks, but also something like a Circle of Life deck. So Olaf and Pete has been a combo that we've been seeing a little bit more of because of the popularity of green-blue, and it's also going to be nice into a deck like this where Circle of Life is so imperative to being able to control the game. I kept 2 Shift Rhinos at bay because I kept them 0-4 until I tramped. Nice. Yeah, and that's a really good point. Scrump being able to protect your characters is going to be another good use situation of that. So we'd see the Olaf come down. Olaf, of course, being able to bounce a character when it leaves the field of play. That is leaves the field. It's not banish, it's leave the field. They put up the wrong Olaf on screen. We love that. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone play the 9-cost uninkable Olaf, but that'd be pretty cool if they did. And then we do see that the Scrooge McDuck. The Scrooge McDuck comes down. Scrooge McDuck what are they doing with the card? Now they have a Bill the Lizard. The Scrooge McDuck comes down, though. For those that don't know, Scrooge McDuck, when you play this card, draw a card, then choose and discard a card. That is a must. That is a must. You cannot, that's not an optional. That's not a may, so you will do that. But you see it works out really well for him because Scrooge McDuck goes ahead and discards that Stitch Surfer. And we do see Amethyst Steel play that Cobra, take the 2 lore. Now, is there a shanty in the hand of the Emerald? There is not, but there is a lady. Mowgli comes down. We do see a dock in the Amethyst Steel player's hand. So let's see. If you're Emerald, if you're Giacomo, you have Giacomo, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he is able to play Circle of Life next turn. So Circle of Life is going to come down. We're going to play the Surfer Stitch and draw 2 cards. Those 2 cards getting us ever closer to Tramp, which I do not know if there's one in hand, but if there is, then going to be able to draw just a lot and can kind of control the field at that point. There is a Tramp in hand. Oh no. So what's going to happen now is we're going to be able to play Circle of Life. We're going to go Bobby first. We might as well see what we got, because what's going to happen is we play the Stitch. We draw 2 cards. That gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're going to be able to play the Tramp then. Tramp is going to be able to find you, hopefully, under the sea plus Lost in the Woods. But what we saw from the Amethyst Steel player is exactly what we needed him to see. That Giant Cobra is massive. Discarding that card, huge impact. It sets up Doc really well, but gaining you that 2 lore, because Amethyst Steel right now is giving him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's going to 15 on this next turn. So that means that if you are Emerald Amber, if you're Giacomo, then you sing Circle of Life, you get Lilo, or you get Stitch, Surfer, and Tramp down. If you do not find Under the Sea and Lost in the Woods, you lose the game. That is it. So we'll see what happens here. Now, Tramp will be able to do a lot of digging. Tramp will be able to dig for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards to find both of those. The first was better. Well, we know I will never be casting an EU event at this point. Okay, so the Tramp does come down. Tramp letting us dig. Really interesting choice there that he decided to, because he had Mowgli 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really interesting choice to not go that route of playing the Surfer Stitch first, because Surfer Stitch would have let him dig for an extra card, and it would have had 2 extra cards in hand that he could have chosen to discard. He gets rid of the Circle of Life to play what is probably, okay, another Circle of Life. So he draws 2. Let's see what he finds here. Okay, we will not know. He's not going to show us. But Under the Sea that turn, I mean, that could have worked, right? If he Under the Sea, so he does have, he did find it. He did find Under the Sea plus Lost in the Woods. So he's going to stop his opponent at 15. So right now he goes 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So he's going to go to 15 here. Now, if you're the Amethyst Steel player, you know he just drew 6 cards from Tramp. He searched for specific cards. You know that he dug for the Under the Sea combo. So do you play anything this turn, or do you just quest to 15? And that's really tough, because you're kind of forced to having to do it, because if you don't, then he can just trade into your entire board and go that route. Most likely, that's what he hopefully does, is bounces the Doc with Olaf. And again, showcasing the power of what Olaf is able to do, where it's not a Fox or, you know, the Madam Mim, excuse me, where it's not the Madam Mim Fox, plays the Elsa. Interesting. Okay, so he's going to try and just challenge his entire opponent's board. Is it going to be enough, though? So Olaf, being a 2-1, is going to be able to take out the Scrooge. Captain Hook is going to take out a Lady and a Mowgli with both Captain Hooks. What a play. And they survive. Under the Sea still able to clear a lot of the board, though. So Captain Hook takes out, okay, the Mowgli. Olaf takes out, I think you just quest for 1. What? Scrooge is an 0-2, isn't it? Am I crazy? Is Scrooge a 0-2 or a 0-1? We'll have to look at that in a second, okay? His Scrooge got bounced, though, but he challenged it with Olaf. Or no, Scrooge got challenged with Doc. Oh, is it when it's challenged, period? It doesn't have to be banished? Oh, that would explain it. If it's just whenever it's challenged, when this character is challenged. Oh, got you. Okay, I understand now. Okay. So really top tier play though. So we do see Under the Sea come down. Under the Sea is going to clear 3 of those characters. But here's the thing. If Amethyst Steel hadn't challenged like he did, he was going to lose his entire board anyways. So now where Amethyst Steel did challenge, he controls his opponent's ability to quest out. And also, like, so really top tier decision there. We do play the dock. We draw 2. Dumbo is going to be an amazing draw now. So meanwhile, if you are Emerald Amethyst, Emerald Amber, you're questing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. And that's not quite going to be fast enough. We'll see what happens. We know that he has a Lost in the Woods in his hand. He does take out the Bobby. Let's see what's in the hand of... So Lost in the Woods, another Scrooge, so going to dig for some stuff. But we do know Scrooge, all he has to do is be challenged. So that Olaf going to put in a lot of work into those Scrooges with only the 1 attack. Bread in the purple steel deck. Bread in the purple steel deck. I don't know what that means. Oh, but we do see a Hades in the Amethyst Steel player's hand. So this is really interesting because the Hades now is going to target that Stitch. And if you are green-yellow, then you're not really going to want to get rid of that Stitch. So he's going to get to draw 2 cards there. Debating, do I need to challenge into the Cobra? And if you do... that does slow them down. So he does take on the Cobra, recognizing that he needs to find a way to just slow his opponent down. So we are still going to Hades. That Stitch, I would imagine, will be our turn here. Dumbo could also draw us a card if we wanted to, or we could develop the board. And this just feels so bad. To get rid of that Stitch is a lot of trade value. But also, do you want to give them 2 more cards? And he does opt to give him 2 more cards. And let's see what the outcome is here. We know that Amethyst Steel is rocking a good amount of cards in his hand. He does take out the lady, so really just trying to control that board. He does quest with the Olaf, saying if you want to take it out, bread is the song, but I'm much faster. Bread is the song, but I'm much faster. Oh, I feel okay. All right. I'm tracking. Gotcha. Okay. I am the worst caster in the world. Okay. So we do see the Palace Guard come down. So now if you are Amethyst Steel, so we do see the Ursula. Now, Ursula, he has not played any strengths of a Raging Fire. The Amethyst Steel, no strength of a Raging Fire, no Thunderbolts. So we do see a lot where a lot of the times Amethyst Steel, you have that idea 1, 2, 3 strength, and when they don't see those strengths, they have a really tough time. But you kind of see how we're not seeing any of those songs, but it's kind of worked in our favor. Ursula never able to rip any songs. Now, if we do top deck a strength here, that's going to be really helpful. We can also ink the Hypnotic, quest with Olaf. No. Olaf challenges the Scrooge to bounce the Scrooge. And then we elephant the Olaf. So let's see if he does elephant the Olaf this next turn. And it's going to come down to if he challenges the Olaf or not with the Stitch. Does he challenge the Olaf? If he does not, Doc. I'm going to have to put the chat away. You guys. So, yes. Does he challenge the Doc with the Stitch is the question. That is the question. Okay, so he does take out the dock, and I think you just have to, because if you didn't take out the dock there, the punishment would have been absolutely massive. Oh, another Hades comes down. Another Hades, so he gets to draw 2 cards. He does find another dock in his hand, so Doc's going to be able to, if he does, he can now kind of just ink a card, flood the board a little bit. He does take out that Dumbo. Who needs to use Dumbo to draw when you can just use Dumbo to challenge all of your opponent's stuff? He sends the Scrooges back to hand. And then let's see how he responds here. Plays the dock, no trigger, which means he probably has another dock in hand. Plays the Scrooge. So I think he opted to keep, I would imagine that he opted to keep the Stitch simply for the reason that Stitch allows him to sing Under the Sea. Stitch Stitch plus Ursula. It's also gonna, I guess, just really Under the Sea. And we don't know what is, it looks like he's still holding on to a Lost in the Woods. So if he's able to find Under the Sea and Lost in the Woods, then it may be enough here. Docs usually adhere to the buddy system and travel together. Okay, so he does play the dock with no trigger because it is going to let him get an extra ink, but then he also still has Elephant in hand. So Elephant in hand is going to let him bounce the dock to his hand. So really smart play there, recognizing that. Now, the only way he really gets punished is if his opponent would have played Under the Sea. If his opponent would have played Under the Sea here to clear the dock, then he would have lost that draw potential, and Elephant becomes much more worse now. But no Under the Sea, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He does not get punished either. All right. Also, Lint Trap, how you doing, man? You're in the Key West, right? Is that where you're vacationing at right now? Okay. He plays a Cheshire Cat and a Palace Guard and a Hades. He's going to quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Or he could take out Stitch with Hades, take out Ursula with Hades, oh, they are in turns. They are in turns right now also. The timer is up. I wonder if that's the official time, because sometimes the stream times are not correct. See, I still think the play, he spammed all those characters knowing that he's digging for Under the Sea. So I wonder if the play was still just quest with the dock for 1 and then bounce the dock. Keep all those cards in hand. Yes, he clears your field with Under the Sea, but then you just spam the entire field again. Because now his opponent is able to hardcast Lost in the Woods and sing Under the Sea and clear his entire board, but he doesn't have it. Looks like a Lady and an Under the Sea in hand, maybe? But that's game. Oh, man. What a game. That was, there's the 2 Lost in the Woods and an Under the Sea. What a game. That was it. That was an interesting game. Yeah, no, that was a really cool game. So, wow. I don't know. Yeah, that was really interesting. I expected that game to go much differently, to be completely honest. I definitely expected that game to I definitely expected that game to not go to turns, right? Like normally when I saw green yellow, I was like, "Oh, this game's going to be over super fast." And that's not what happened. That game definitely lasted a hot minute. And I mean, they went to turns, and that is not what I expected at all. That was actually a really, really neat game to watch, and with a lot of back and forth that I did not expect to happen. Huge shout out to Wasted with the follow. Thank you very much, brother. So took a low value Scrooge instead of high value Stitch. Yeah, looked away for a minute. Who took it? Amethyst Steel took it. Amethyst Steel did take it, being on the play, and being on the play definitely. Wow, that's crazy. Coach with the follow. Appreciate that, man. We'll just stick to Coach. So butchering people's name is one thing. So, but yes, Amethyst Steel did take it. So, hey, thanks a lot, Lint. I hope the wedding goes great. Is the wedding today or tomorrow? I mean, it's in the Key West, so it should go well as long as it doesn't rain. So that's gonna be an awesome wedding for you, brother. I hope it goes really well for you. So you didn't realize that name. That's why I said it earlier. I almost said it on stream because I thought it said put me in, coach. It does not say that. Hey, Jeremy. Yeah, no problem, man. I saw that it was live, and I was looking on Twitch, and I saw that none of them were English streams, so I thought I'd jump on because I was already watching it when I woke up, so I thought I'd jump on and throw on some English and not do very good with casting, in my opinion. I'm butchering names. I'm saying Olafs instead of Docs. I don't know what Scrooge McDuck does, so but we're having a good time. Seems like people are enjoying themselves today at 4 p.m. Nice, man. I hope it goes well. So I'm sure it will. Weddings are always an exciting time. The reception's always great. The food in the Key West is delicious, so I'm sure the reception is going to be phenomenal. And the beach is beautiful. So we knew you meant Doc. I know. You guys are the best. How is the CCS going? They should be in round 2 or done with round 2. So how is that rocking right now? Has anyone been tuning in to that? Looks like they are on round 2. Looks like Brainiac gameplay. They've got Brainiac gameplay, guys. Okay, so there are 9 rounds for today. So that is something. They got Brainiac gameplay. Do we jump over there? Yeah, we'll jump over there. Looks like no interview. So we're going to jump over here really quick. I'm going to keep an eye on both of them, but I really want to see what's going on with this Brainiac gameplay. So WCC, so World Class Cards rocking on some. Oh, it's Brainiac versus. Oh no, my camera's in the way. Bang. Okay. Brainiac versus Tempo. What an interesting game. He is rocking the Hey Heys as well. Shout out to this man rocking those Hey Heys. He's going to get that draw. Hey Hey one that I am super high on right now. I just started using it a couple days ago, but I've really been enjoying the Hey Hey for what he's able to do. So we Chromicon to draw. Nice. We bounce the genie. Bouncing the genie is always going to be super nice because when you bounce that genie, it forces them to have to replay that 4-cost uninkable card. It also increases the size of their hand for the Clarabelle when the Clarabelle comes down. So may have some locals at CCS. They traveled a long way. Nice, yeah. We didn't have anybody from my local scene go, but you up in New York, that's a way longer way as well. But no one from our local scene made it over there. So the next round of Lore League should be starting very soon, though. So we're going to... Let's check if this is English.
Fare tramp.
It is not English. Okay. So... All right, so we will be jumping back into the Lore League event soon as the next round is up, just to pay respect to 20 Lore. If you guys do prefer to watch CCS, I highly encourage you to go join the 20 Lore stream and support them directly, okay? So as soon as the 20 league event is up, we'll be jumping back over to that. Oh, running Meg in his list. Meg being the boost 1. When she has a card underneath her, she's a 3/4/2. And when you challenge her, you have to discard a card. It's either challenge her or banish her, but I think it's challenge her. You have to discard a card. Not a very effective card against green-purple control. Green-purple control is not doing a lot of bouncing, or a lot of challenging, but where he boosted her, he is essentially drawing an extra card now because the answer is to bounce that Meg. Library, though, putting in a lot of work this game. What you can do is you're welcome the library and bounce the Meg. That's going to slow them down. But by doing so, you're giving them a lot of hand size, and they're on 7 ink. So they're going to be able to flood the board. Looks like we are going to bounce the Meg. At this point, just digging. He needs to find... He's got a lot of bounce mechanics. So if he's able to get a Clarabelle down, then... he's in a really good spot. All you need is the one Clarabelle to get that Prince Philip Shift Wombo Exodia piece down. So just kind of digging for that, trying to find that answer. We do see Meg come down again, inking the Akela. A Mother Knows Best of our own. Oh no. And I think it might be over for our green-purple, because next turn... No. So, Coach, the opponent does not get to see what the boosted card was, what the card underneath was. So, that is knowledge for only yourself. So, on that same note, let's say you play Your Welcome. If I was to play Your Welcome on a boosted character like Meg, neither player gets to see what the bottom card is. So, you have to put the Meg in your deck and put the card that was underneath Meg in your deck without looking at it. So neither player gets to see that knowledge when it goes back into your deck. When it does go into the discard, both players get to see that. That is free knowledge. When it goes into your hand, only the player that owns the boosted card gets to see the card that goes back to hand. So a lot of different things going on with those boost characters. Really good question. Yeah, it is. So, okay, so we see... I'd imagine, do you just go wide? I think you still just go wide here. Oh, looks like he is going to boost and take out Donald Duck. Just not giving him any options to be able to get extra draw, get a card that can sing. So we do take out the Donald Duck. We lose a Meg off the top that was boosted underneath the Flynn. And then now Garrett's going to be able to quest to 14, 15, 16, 17 here. And let's see if Robert's able to get there or not. Just note, see, and that's where he can't get the Clarabelle down. He can, You're Welcome, the Flynn and the Library, but that's only holding his opponent to 19, and he gets an entire hand worth of cards now. Oh, what a rough spot to be in if you're the green-purple player. So he does get rid of the Library. And You're Welcome's the Flynn Rider. So, yep. So then that's how it should be. You draw 2, and then yep. And that's, sometimes you'll do that right, but let your opponent draw the 2 because that's the right rules. That's how you do it. And then they both go in there. You shuffle. Just like that, Garrett did not see the top card or the boosted card because that's the way it's supposed to be. So we'll check back in. Nothing going on. All right. At this point, Robert, I don't know if there's anything because Garrett's going to go to 19. It looks like Garrett was on the play, though, so definitely a big advantage. And another Library comes down. Throw down the Meg. Throw down any card. Dumbo. And that's good game. Well, that's not what we like to see from my favorite deck of the format. Unfortunate. I'd be curious. Yeah, so the reason he did it that way, coach, is that if Robert had MMS and Prince Philip in hand, then he could have cleared the entire board, but he still would it wouldn't have mattered actually because he still had library down. So, yeah, I guess challenging into the Donald Duck was kind of not needed because your library would have saved you from the actual Prince Philip board wipe. So there's that. Shout out to Garrett. You don't see a lot of tempo, green purple tempo that is on library. So shout out to Garrett for running the library route. Again, it's such a good card when you're playing against a lot of decks that are running so much removal, especially the Prince Philip combo, because when you know it's coming, you just move everything into the library and then you get to draw a whole bunch of cards. That as well. So, yeah, exactly. So you're welcome, MMS and Prince Philip. So there's that. And then also, if you would have just moved everything into the library anyways, then that's another way to just really punish that. So at that point, you're forcing them to have another Prince Philip and MMS to clear the entire board. So, all right. So just waiting for the next round should be starting soon because we had the Amethyst Steel versus Dog Circle of Life went to turns. So you would think the next round would be coming up already. It's been 10-ish minutes. So unless there's something crazy going on, you'd think it'd be up already. But that's all right. We'll chill. Well, speak of the devil. All right. Speak of the devil. All right. So we're back. Hopefully with another game.
Bene, non ho detto niente di... Mi hai cazziato perché volevo... E invece...
All right. Also, Lint, I don't know if I responded to you. I don't know if you're still here either. Thank you for the compliments on the setup. I'm trying. I want to get some good backdrops eventually, right? And I just kind of keep adding things into it to see how I like it. This is my first ever lava lamp. I've never had a lava lamp before. So I really love that. It's really awkward though. I didn't realize how long they take to heat up. So like the beginning of my streams are like, it's just sitting there, not doing anything. And then my videos, if you see it in my videos, you'll see that it just sits there the whole time and it doesn't warm up by the time my video is over. So it's nice for my streams, not so nice for anything else. But yeah, it's not perfect. We've got that thing that's in the way that I'm using to block out the sun, but we got hardwood floors put in up here. Oh, I don't even It's all right. We're being cheap. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, we have our next match coming up. And we'll see what we got. Oh, they're not ready. Just kidding. All right, we'll turn off the alerts going into the match. How's everybody's Saturday going though? I will not be able to cast this all day. I know when the wife gets home, because we're going into round 8. Actually, I should be able to do Swiss today. And I'll tell you what, I'll get up early tomorrow for finals if we can find an actual time of when finals starts, and we'll cast finals. And I'll try and finish Swiss today. I know when my wife gets home, she wants to go to the big Target that's about an hour down the road, as well as another store that's kind of like a farmer's market. But I can't think of what it's called. It's not Home Goods. That's not a farmer's market. Anyways, it's a grocery store that has a bunch of like healthy stuff going on, and it's expensive, unfortunately. But it's a cool store, so there's that. But I can't think of what it's called. I'll ask the wife. But yeah, we'll try and make it through round 9. Yeah! Holy crap, you're right. It is Whole Foods. That's exactly where we're going. So, so there's a Whole Foods right next to this really, really big Target. So that's where we're going to be going later. So, all right. We see a Clarabelle come down, a Basil Inked. We have Emerald Sapphire, better known as Green Blue, Bleen, Baja Blast, Glean. What are some other names people have called it? Glue? Not Trader. My wife wishes it was a Trader Joe's, but it is Whole Foods. So we see Glue. What do you guys prefer to be called? Glue, Glean, Bleen, Baja Blast, Cattle Farm. I've been really happy with Cattle Farm lately. But we got a Glue. All right. We do see the 1-cost Clarabelle come down. We find the turn 2 ramp, the ever important, just Green Blue. There's that. If you want to be boring, okay, fine, so be it. But we do see a Calhoun come down from Harry, so shout out to him. We're just going to use Harry, all right? I love the haircut, all right, looking really good. And then back to Andrea. Andrea going into that next turn. The question is he on the Cinderella package? If he is, it doesn't look like he has one in hand. So he could just set up the Prince Philip now if he wanted to. You're not really punished for that when you're on the play. Oh, my face is in the way. Come on. What's wrong with me? Okay, so good thing my commentation was so good. You guys knew exactly what was happening. So, hey, Mishka, I hope class goes well, man. Thanks for that. So, so we do see Strength of a Raging Fire come down to take out the Clarabelle, and we play a Donald Duck. So Donald Duck going to let both players draw cards. I fixed it, Russell. I'm sorry. I apologize. All right. I do apologize. Luckily, the chat is always there for me to let me know that I'm being dumb. And okay, Donald Duck comes down. Now, the other option that turn was play Donald Duck or play the Prince Philip. And Prince Philip is a fine line when you're on the play, because if being on the play, they can't play their Demona to turn your Prince Philip sideways before you're able to actually play your combo. Now, going the Donald Duck route, what he could have done is set up his own Clarabelle Shift. We do see the MMS inked, so MMS getting inked means it tells your opponent one of two things. Either he doesn't have the combo or he has a second MMS in hand, MMS being Malicious, Mean, and Scary from Tangled. But so now a couple options. You're going to be drawing a lot of cards. That Cobra, though, gaining you that free lore because thankfully Donald Duck is drawing so many cards, so you're not worried about resources here. Now, one thing that Amethyst Steel does have to be worried about is if your opponent does have the Clarabelle Shift in hand and you're welcome, that's going to be some good card draw for them. But your opponent, Harry, only on 2 cards in hand, and when he has that Olaf down now, Olaf is going to be able to bounce that Giant Cobra to give him even more lore gain. So Olaf just being extremely popular in these Amethyst Steel decks. Also, only drawing 1 card off of the Donald Duck triggers, not wanting to feed the Clarabelle. I do love his sleeves, though. His sleeves look super clean. All right, so looking at the hand of Green Blue, no Clarabelle Shift, it looks like. We do see a Hades. So Hades is going to be super important to be able to clear that Giant Cobra. That way, Olaf cannot, in turn, bounce the Giant Cobra when it gets removed from the field. So Hades is going to be really important. Hades also trades really well, so that's going to be really important to get down. Of course, you're still a ways away from that. You're only going to 6 ink this turn, so Hades cannot come down until next turn. Opting to draw, so looking for that Clarabelle Shift, most likely. Clarabelle Shift not going to do a lot for you, but it does give you a big body on board, a 5/6/2 that draws you cards. Can't argue with that. He does have the Clarabelle Shift in hand, so he is able to do that this turn and probably ink one of those Phillips. Is that an... Okay, so it is a Malicious, Mean, and Scary. So he does play Malicious, Mean, and Scary, which is going to let Donald Duck take out the Calhoun. Oh, this is interesting. So he opts to not bounce anything with Olaf because he doesn't want to feed the Clarabelle Shift. So instead of getting the free lore from Cobra, he says that I don't want to give you more cards to draw. So he doesn't do that. Now Donald Duck could trade into the Calhoun, and I feel like you have to, because you Oh, he does bounce the Calhoun. Okay, so he does bounce the Calhoun with the Olaf. I was really confused for a second, but he bounces the Calhoun with Olaf so that Donald Duck cannot remove the Olaf. Then we see the Prince Philip inked, and we see the Clarabelle come down with 2 in hand, so he's going to get to draw 2. Now, in his hand is a Develop Your Brain and a Hades, so a lot of capability there. He quests with the Clarabelle, but that's a perfectly fine quest, because what happens now is Cobra, and it's going to take Cobra and Captain Hook to take out the Clarabelle, meaning Amethyst Steel's left with no board other than what he plays this turn. Meanwhile, you have 2 Donald Ducks down that are drawing you cards, so he's going to start his next turn on 7 cards in hand, which is a good place to be when you have cards like Hades and Basil's to control your opponent's board. So really tough turn here for Amethyst Steel. Trying to figure out, how do I find a way back now when my opponent... That's one way to do it. All right, that's one way to do it. A bunch of cards that trade really well. So looks like he does take on a Donald Duck. So really, I do like this decision, because his Clarabelle is not going to be drawing him cards anymore. What happens now is that Clarabelle is kind of useless when your Amethyst Steel's opponent's only on 2 cards in hand, because they were able to play those 2 Captain Hooks and the Calhoun. Now, we'll kind of see what happens here. Do we see the Hades come down on the Calhoun this turn to develop that board? And we do see it come down. So that's kind of our turn. The question is now, do we quest? Do we take out the giant Cobra? Cross, my pleasure, man. My pleasure for sure. Hope you enjoy it. It's been interesting today, some of the casting, but we're having a good time, so that's what matters. So the Donald Duck does come down, takes out the Cobra to protect. Just says, I'm gonna dictate how you're gonna do trades, because now if those Captain Hooks, they could take out the Clarabelle, but again, you're left with no board and 5. So takes down the Hades. And a Doc comes down. Doc, a phenomenal top deck there. So Elsa is going to trade in there. Captain Hooks take out the Clarabelle. So really good turn there, going to 2 cards in hand, and Elsa and an Olaf down. So definitely in a good position. And yep, Mishka, it is constructed as Slap Happy said. So we are not rocking Infinity yet. So, all right. You have a plethora of cards in your hand as Andrea, so we're going to develop, see what we can find. Maybe, I think at this point, you're happy to find Basil's, you're happy to find Hades, just ways to control the board in an easy fashion, and cards that are also questing for 2 big bodies, Hades being the big body, whereas Basil forcing your opponent to discard as well. If you don't see Amber Steel, it's most likely constructed. That is very true. Amber Steel is the deck to beat in Infinity right now. That is what has to be figured out. That deck has gotten ferocious in Infinity for sure. Amber Steel aggro. Steel Song, unfortunately, did not get a lot of help for Infinity. So that is unfortunate. But back to the constructed, because I could talk about Infinity for a while, because I've started looking at it because, well, Infinity Weekend and stuff, but also keeping an eye on things is really important. Hopefully going to make Indianapolis to do the Infinity tournament there. Andrea making some choices. He inks the Sail. He plays a Prince Philip and a Clarabelle and another Clarabelle, so he can get that draw. Goes back up to 2 cards in hand, and then Hades is going to go on a merry little quest to 8, and Andrea leading 8-5 at this point in a very important match. If you look, Harry has 6-0-1, so went to a draw in one of his games, called the draw maybe, and this is round 8. It's a total of 9 rounds. So Harry, if he does win this, can draw it out. Andrea has to play his next 2 games, possibly. No, his next game for sure. If he loses this one, he has to play. If he wins, he can draw. So a lot on the line in this game for both players. We do see that Harry comes down with an enchanted, that beautiful enchanted Dumbo, plus an Olaf. We do get, plus a Doc. I was looking at Olaf. We're moving past it. We play the Dumbo plus the Doc, and then we draw 2, one of those 2 being the Olaf. So Olaf coming down, again, protecting the Doc. Olaf in these decks, even when they're not running the Pete, still representing so much capability here, because now your opponent, if they clear your board, you're bouncing that Doc to your hand. When you're on 4-8 ink, you're able to play that Doc plus most likely anything else you have in your deck or in your hand at the time, and then refill your hand with the Doc. So just Olaf putting in a lot of work. I think it's been a really interesting inclusion in these Amethyst Steel decks, even if you're not running Pete's. Just what you're able to bounce. Bouncing Docs is really great. Bouncing Giant Cobras is really great. If you draw all 4 Giant Cobras, that's 8 lore. And then if you use Olaf to bounce a couple, potentially 10, 12, 16 lore. So, all right. Me thinking I like Steel for deck building. Steel is the best. All right. All right, so we do make the trade there. We take out a Doc, which means that now what's going to happen, we do your welcome our own Clarabelle, just trying to dig for a couple more resources. I think that's a really top-notch play. What he could have done is he could have used your welcome on the opponent's Doc to prevent the Olaf. But by doing that, all you're successfully doing is drawing them 2 cards, which is what Olaf would have done in the first place. So now what's going to happen is Olaf can go ahead and challenge into and take out the 3-drop Clarabelle to bounce the Doc. So Doc can quest for 1, taking Harry to 8, and then Olaf is going to be able to take out the 3-cost Clarabelle, bounce the Doc to hand, and go that route. Now we do have a Demona in hand. So Demona letting you draw 3 if you're able to empty your hand, but I think we still just go the route of taking out the Clarabelle, questing with first you quest with the Doc, then you take out the Clarabelle to bounce the Doc to hand. That's really interesting that my Twitch alert sound goes off, but there's no image on the screen. And I do not know how to... Woda2224, thank you for the follow, brother. I think I need to go to Twitch to turn that off from happening. But that's really awkward. All right. Screw it. We'll just turn them on. Why not? And I'll figure that out another time. Okay. So we do see some stuff happening. So we do know there's a Demona in hand. Looks like a Black Heron, and I'm not sure what else he has in hand. So it is an interesting place because Doc and Demona in hand kind of work against you in a sense. It looks like it's a Strength of a Raging Fire, because if you bounce the Doc to hand, then your Doc's going to get in the way of your Demona, because Demona draws you 3 if you have 0 cards in hand when you play her. So it's a really interesting place. Demona is not the top deck that you wanted to see here. But looks like it is a Strength of a Raging Fire, a Demona, and a Black Heron. So we play the Black Heron, and okay. So we draw 3, and then now what we're able to do is still take out the Clarabelle and then bounce. Or is he going to opt to remove the Prince Philip here? No. I think you quest for 1, you take out the Clarabelle, Elsa takes out Prince Philip, Olaf takes out Prince Philip, so your Elsa lives. There we go. He quests for 1. There we go. Quest for 1 with Olaf. Quest for 1 with Doc. Olaf takes out Prince Philip. You bounce the Doc to hand, and now you have 4 cards in hand. 3 cards in hand. Demona just putting in a lot of work this game. We saw, if you guys remember, if you guys were watching DKP in round 6, Demona was the card that changed the matchup, that allowed him to win the game. And Demona put in a lot of work there. And then now we see Demona putting in a lot of work this game as well. So we do see MMS come down, unfortunately. So a really masterful turn by Amethyst Seal, by Harry, and then the Prince Philip bomb coming down to just remove the entire board. So we do have Hades. I think you just let him draw 2 here because you shouldn't be worried about anything. You're questing 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 this next turn. So I do think, like Pixelborn Pepe Hand said, that this is probably game. I do not know how you come back at this point when you're questing for 7, representing 2-turn lethal here. Now, you know what would have saved him? Pete. I don't know. I think, another Hades, a third Hades comes down. That is, okay, and Harry says, that's good enough. We don't need to keep playing this game anymore. So, and then you can kind of see, you see in this game why Amethyst Steel has started popping in Pete, or have been talking so much about Pete, because with Pete, he wouldn't have been able to do that combo. The Green-Blue's best way to get back into this game is going to be the Prince Philip combo with the 3-cost Prince Philip, Ward, 3/2/2, the Shift Prince Philip, and then also the MMS, Malicious, Mean, and Scary. But if you play Pete, they can't do it, and that's oftentimes all you need to be able to get the victory. Really interesting that they opt to pile shuffle here. Now, luckily, they pile shuffled very quickly, but they do not have a lot of time on the clock here. 32 minutes. That first game took, again, I forgot to look. I do not know if it's 50 or 55-minute rounds here, but if it was a 50-minute round, that first game taking 18 minutes almost. If it was a 55-minute round, then, yeah, it looks like if it goes to game 3, they're definitely going to turns. So we'll kind of see how it goes. And a lot of the times, pile shuffling when the games are taking so long is just a tough choice. That is a rough choice. Now, if both players do draw here, that's not the end of the world for these players. Like, that would be better than a loss here. Looks like we do see a Cinderella in the hand of Green-Blue, and we do have turn 2 ramp. Oh boy, this is going to be a rough game for Amethyst Steel. They've got Sail as well as Cinderella, opting to put 4 back, the 4 being a Hades, putting back a Clarabelle, and a couple other good targets. So 50-minute games. Okay, so they do have enough time to get through both games. So, but they are going to have to play a little expeditiously to make it there. Huge shout out to Lore League also for their logo. I think this logo that they have is so nice with the colors in there, and then I just think it looks really good. I really like their logo. And their playmat is just super clean as well. Big fan. All right, let the game begin. Amethyst Steel taking the lead with no 1-drop. Hey, Mishka, there is no sideboard in Lorcana. A lot of that has to do with how our ink system works. Your ink system is kind of your sideboard because you can decide to ink cards that you might not need into that matchup. So, and that would be the reason why there's no sideboard in Lorcana. I do not believe that we will ever have a sideboard in Lorcana, but my wife would tell you I'm wrong a lot. So there is that. So, we do see a Develop Your Brain coming down from Andrea. Couple of different options here. And when you have turn 2 ramp and Cindy, the world's kind of your oyster, right? Like there's so many choices that you can make because you're doing that 2-4-6 turn. And if they can't remove your Cinderella, then you have that Cinderella to stick around to sing your welcome or to bounce stuff. So it is really, really important. Now we do see that he does have that uninkable Bend to My Will. I'd imagine we're going to see Cinderella inking that Bend to My Will. It's just not a super imperative card into this matchup for green-blue because Amethyst Steel will be working to empty their hand so that... All right, they're playing very quickly. One thing you don't want to see when you're playing quickly is misplays or card reveals because that's only going to slow things down. So we can slow down. Smooth is fast. Fast is smooth, right? So we'll see how things go here. Having to choose what to ink. I think you just ink the sail. Yep, you ink the sail because you have the Cindy. So you still just ramp with Cindy instead. You don't need that sail. Cindy, of course, letting you filter a card and getting draw there as well. And your opponent did not start fast. With no turn 1, he's down 2 lore at this point. So that's a big deal as well. Giant Cobra comes down. He does opt to get rid of a card, hoping to not feed into a Clarabelle, questing for 1, going to 3, which would be 5 at this point. Now remember, he did not see a 1-drop, so he would be at 5 at this point if he had seen that 1-drop. So we'll see how impactful that ends up, what kind of lore he gets to later in the game. We do see the Cindy come down, getting rid of the Bend to My Will, as we suspected would happen, and pass turn. Could close that on the play on the draw gap in best of 3s if someone techs better than the other. Yeah, I've never played Magic the Gathering, so I've never messed around with the sideboard stuff. But I have read that the sideboard is a huge piece of what separates really good players between that like amateur and master pro level is how you tech into other decks. And how you utilize your sideboard most effectively. So I could definitely see that. And Frank Karsten being a Hall of Fame Magic the Gathering player where he likes to run lots of one-ofs and such, it makes a lot of sense with how sideboards work in Magic the Gathering, where you can really get benefited by knowing what cards are good into what matchups. I used to be a WOTC judge in the late 90s. I do not know what Wizards of the Coast judge. Nice. Okay. So are you going to be a Lorcana judge when they start the judge program? We do see that Andrea plays a Prince Philip. So if I didn't commentate over an entire turn, but we saw Strength of a Raging Fire come down to remove the Cinderella, and then a Prince Philip come down from Andrea. Now what you see is Harry questing with everything because the Prince Philip combo could come down here, and it does, and it just feels awful because Harry has 1 card left in hand. If it's not a dock, he is in an uphill battle, and we'll see what happens here. So we do play the Hades, so we get to draw 2, which is really good for us. That's extremely important that we see that. And the Olaf comes down to potentially protect that Hades, which is really good. Now, we can just You're Welcome or bounce the Hades. We'd want to ideally You're Welcome the Hades if we wanted to do anything, or Hades the Hades. So a little Hades on Hades action. And that's what we're going to see here. Hades on Hades action, bouncing the putting the Looking for a Deal back in his hand. Thank you very much, Delta. I'm glad you're enjoying it, brother. Thank you very much. That means a lot. And unfortunately for Amethyst Steel, it just goes to show the power of what Prince Philip shift line has done for green blue, Baja, glue, whatever you want to call it. Because beforehand, Amethyst Steel was an almost impossible match for green blue. But because of the power of the Prince Philip shift line, that it just makes it so much harder at this point. I'm already a judge at the local game store. Nice. Well, that's awesome, man. I hope it goes well for you. So, and I hope you're able to get there. Now, one thing that he could have done there instead of questing is he could have hit the Hades to bounce the Demona back to hand. That way he could play Demona, but where you're only on... That's really unfortunate. So we see a Hades come down to put the Demona back in his Inkwell, and you can just kind of see the look on Harry's face of, I can't believe this is happening. So, because at this point, he's in a really rough spot. 1 card in hand. His opponent's going to quest for 5 this turn. He's going to quest with 5. He's going to quest for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 next turn. So looks like he's not going to quest with the Hades, though. Okay, so he does. Now, there is an argument to not quest with the Hades, because if Harry had a dock in hand, then by questing with the Hades, he can play the dock, draw 2, and then challenge the Olaf into the Hades to bounce the dock again. And it's just like that. So just like that, he now draws 2. He challenges the Olaf into the Hades so that then he's able to bounce the dock back to hand. Now, the problem is Andrea is still questing for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 next turn, going to take him to 15. So if he plays anything, it's kind of just doomsday. So is that even what you want to do here by getting rid of characters? Because if you drew a Strength of a Raging Fire, then Strength of a Raging Fire can help you take something out. So I wonder if you just don't challenge yet. Okay, looks like he is going to challenge here. Nope, he waits. He waits because, again, if he has a Strength of a Raging Fire, Strength of a Raging Fire will let him take out the Prince Philip shift if he has another character in hand. And then this turn, he can also still do the Olaf plus Doc play as long as his opponent does not have another Hades in hand. And looking at his hand, there is not. So we'll see if he's able to get there. So he quests for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, taking him to 15. And then let's see what he does here. I don't agree with all the ink is sideboard argument because a ton of powerful cards are uninkable. But that's very true, Blader. Like that is very true, right? And that's why we don't run a lot of the tech options, because it is uninkable. It's like in, okay, so play 7. We bounce the genie back to hand. Now next turn, questing for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know if there's anything. 6, 7. I did it. I said the thing. I said the thing that allowed him to type the thing. God. Okay, so looking at Harry's hand, we're going to draw. Now, one option could have been, no, I don't see a Strength of a Raging Fire in hand, so we are able to send Rose plus Captain Hook into Hades. Elsa comes down. Oh, we do. Okay, so we do have a Strength of a Raging Fire. Captain Hook plus Olaf is going to be able to take out the Basil. You quest for 1 with the Dock to bounce the Dock to hand. So you are able to keep Andrea at 19 lore on this next turn. The strength was imperative. So he did have the strength hidden in his hand. So that was definitely a massive draw that he needed there. Looks like he is getting ready to bounce the Dock. Now he could send. He's got 9 on board. I think you still just send. Elsa can challenge, so he could send Elsa. He could send Elsa plus. Okay, so he does use that to challenge. And then Olaf questing for 1. Does Elsa deal 2 damage into Hades? I think you do. Okay, you don't. So I think that could have been a play just to put more damage on Hades, and you would have been okay with that play. Just putting that 2 on there to help make trades a little easier, because what are you worried about if by not doing it, right? Maybe he plays Prince Philip, but if he plays Prince Philip, you lose either way, so it doesn't really matter. So at this point, if you're Andrea, I think you just spam the board. You play the Cinderella, you play the Prince Philip, or just Cinderella and Donald Duck. No, you play the Prince Philip because it has ward. Yes, Demona would turn it sideways, but at least it couldn't be targeted by strength. Okay, so Donald Duck and Prince Philip come down. You quest in 19. Hey, Hella Pro, thank you for the follow. Let's make that a little bit smaller, though, so it doesn't get in front of the board while the game's going on. Thank you for the follow, though, very much. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Oh, geez, Louise. I don't even know what that was. Hey, we reached a follower goal. Awesome. All right, congratulations, Andrea, for that 2-0 victory. Man, Andrea just out of there fast. Picks up his card, says, I'm out. Yeah, I don't know. Again, and I'm gonna scroll up and we'll talk about the whole sideboard thing. And with that being said, like I've never played Magic the Gathering, so I don't know. Like, hey, and we got a follow from Oz using your Prime or sub. Thank you very much for the Prime sub, man. I hope you're enjoying yourself. The fact that you're still here, maybe you are, and that means a lot, man. You can only use it on one person, and you used it on me, so I'm thankful for that. But yeah, when I give my opinions on the sideboard, I've never played Magic the Gathering, so I've never gotten to know what that feeling is like of knowing that I can have all these tech cards in my deck. That it's like, hey, I really want to play these cards, but it's really bad into a lot of these good matchups, so I don't. So there is that, but. Going up later, that does make sense. Like, so for example, get my face out of here. Look at that. Okay. Look at that. Amethyst Steel, 118 Amethyst Steel, 30.8%. 30.8%. We've got to snip this real quick. I love how they did this, by the way. This conversion here is amazing. Okay. 4 Ruby Steel, 1 Amber Ruby, 1 Amber Amethyst. These are my favorite players right here, these 3. But 118 Amethyst Steel is wild. That is massive numbers. Like, people were complaining about Blurple having high representations. What is that? Oh, it's a high. Oh, we've got. We'll turn that off for a second. All right. Sorry, guys. I don't know what half of my things do. I'm a terrible streamer. But a hype train has started. So, but Amethyst Steel, like, I don't know if we ever saw last set where Blurple was 30.8% of the representation of the overall meta. But 118, 30.8%, 13.1 for dogs, Blurple 17.2, 18.3 for green blue. And we noticed that last weekend. If you guys watched my meta report, green blue was highly played. It had a lot of top decks. The top decks, so green blue definitely coming back, and it makes the argument, should Amethyst Steel be on Pete's? That is the big argument here. So, because Pete's, again, if he would have had Pete to slow down that Prince Philip combo, could he have gotten enough lore over that one turn that it would have impacted the game enough to get him the win? If not, then maybe it wouldn't have mattered, right? Maybe Pete wouldn't have actually saved anything, but, you know, we never, and maybe that's what people have figured out in testing. So that's true as well. Just Amethyst in general. When we look at this, Amethyst taking up 118 plus 66 plus another 24, like that is almost, like you said, almost 60% of the field being that Amethyst deck or the Amethyst color. That is truly crazy numbers. That is truly crazy numbers. We'll go ahead and move this up here so we can still see that. But yeah, that is wild. I saw someone post on Facebook the other day, if you're not playing this color, you're playing Lorcana wrong. And it was just a big purple circle. And it just, yeah, purple is strong. Amethyst is strong. And it's a pretty color. So there's that. But yeah, going back to sideboards, and I'll scroll back down to catch up on chat. I get why people like the idea. Because, for example, if I'm playing a blue deck, or if I'm playing a blue deck, green, blue, if I'm playing green, purple, and I'm playing into a blue deck that run either be blue steel or green blue, then I really want my 5-cost Cuscos. Those 5-cost Cuscos letting me Cusco's poison for Cusco. letting me, so when my opponent tries to discard cards, they don't get to, right? So Headless Horseman becomes useless, Bend to My Will becomes useless for my opponent, things like that. Meanwhile, if I'm against blue, then I really want to play Shift Cusco. So I could put in my Shift Cuscos over my Shift Gothels. So that's something. Now, one thing I am curious about is how much time do you get between games to sideboard in cards? I assume that there's a time limit. Or does that time limit go into the overall game limit? Because that's something as well. How many games do we see right now that are already going to turns? So if you have 55 minutes for the game, and that includes your shuffling time and your sideboard time, then that's also going to kind of impact games, because you have to sideboard really fast at that point to prevent going to turns. Honestly, the Lorcana community being so awesome is why I judge again. I have a few DLC judges basically on speed dial to answer any questions I may have. Yeah. No, I feel that. In the Discord, we have a role for judges, for our judges, and they get tagged a lot when people have judge questions, and they're always quick to answer them. They're super awesome. And that's what I keep hearing from Lorcana judges, that they just really enjoy judging. They enjoy the people. Right? And I guess that's what matters, right? Because you do have to have good people skills to be a judge. No one likes to hear that the thing that they wanted to do is not allowed, right? And that it can't be done. Okay, let's see. Stop. I thought he had strength too. I feel my very short experience with Lorcana that understanding who is beat down versus aggro is more important than in. Yes, Mishka. So that is really important. And sorry, I'll catch up on the chat, guys. But that is really important. And the other part is to figure out, I call it the pivot point, and I talk about it in a lot of my videos of you might not be the aggro player. You're not the tempo player, right? You're the control player, whatever that may be. And you have to pivot to know when the right time is that you become the player that quests. Right? And there's a lot of different things that can make that up. And I think it's really difficult in Lorcana. And I think it's part of recognizing what your role is in your matchup is one of the more difficult things that a lot of people struggle with, because they start questing too early. They start questing too late. And when you can't respond on your opponent's turn, you get punished for that. Maybe you didn't quest the turn before, and because you did not, then and there's just, I could go super in depth on it. But I think you're 100% right. You have to know what your role is in the game. And then because you cannot interact with your opponent, you have to understand that is your role. If you try to play a control deck like an aggro deck because of what your opponent's deck is, you have to change your gameplay a little bit because of what your opponent's doing, but it is very much your own game. Like, you are playing a board game. You have to know what your strategy is and play your strategy. Do not change what your deck is trying to do just because your opponent is doing something different, right? And that's really imperative for people to understand. And again, those kinds of things are what I think separates a lot of people from going from a more casual route to winning their set champs and getting top cuts and things like that. So I don't understand when people make this game like Magic the Gathering. Let the game be its own thing. That's true, right? But I think with all TCGs, they all kind of have similarities. Now, I don't know, is sideboards a thing in other TCGs besides Magic the Gathering? I know in Alestrals, sideboards are not a thing. So there's that, but I don't know about Pokemon. I know Pokemon has like a prize pool thing and a bunch of stuff, but I don't know about the other games. I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh has a sideboard, so I'd be curious about that. True, but it's been hard to overlook the fact that Magic the Gathering has been the #1 TCG for 30 years. That's a really good point, right? Sometimes it goes back to the old adage of if the wheel ain't broke, don't fix it. So if it's winning for them, maybe it can win for other games as well. So Windows plus Shift plus S. Look at that. I'm learning something new. See, you guys are the best. Okay. If you want to play a game like Magic, go play Magic. Now, I will say, even if, man, you guys are going crazy in the chat. Even if we did bring on sideboards, like there's still so much that separates us from Magic, right? The biggest impact being that you can't interact on opponents' turns. Like as long as we don't have that, hang on, my wife's calling me. All right. All right. So the wife has agreed. She's going to let me go long enough to do round 9. So we're sticking around for all of day 1, and then I'm going to wake up early so we can cast and stream day 2. All right? So if anyone wants to wake up early with me, we'll be here, okay? But yeah, as long as you can't interact on your opponent's turn, Lorcana will always be its own game, right? Because that is just such, I never played a game, right? Lorcana is my first TCG besides Hearthstone, right? And Hearthstone online. So yes, it's a TCG. It's not a TCG, whatever you want to call it. It's fine. But so interacting with your opponent's board, the first time I ever saw that was Alestrals. And that felt weird. I wasn't the biggest fan of that whole interaction. So from a business perspective, I'm talking if it works for them, why not for us? That's true as well. So we need an inkable card that says when your opponent draws a card during their turn, other than the first card, you gain 1 lore. Don't we have a card like that? I feel like we have a card like that. Uh-oh. Oh no, no. Did my stream freeze? Okay, all right, we're good. Dreamborn. I really need to catch up on chat. You guys are so far ahead of me, and I'm talking about things that have already been happening. Blushy Turtle, how you doing, brother? I hope you're doing all right. We're having fun. I'm trying to catch up on chat, and it feels impossible because everyone keeps chatting, and I feel like I'm late, but we're trying. It goes into your overall game limit, okay? Okay, so it goes into your overall game limit. So you'd have to, oh no, though. I'm already a huge believer in best of 1. So because I love hey, Star, what's going on, man? How you doing? I love best of 1. I love Lorcana. I never thought that I would enjoy a trading card game. Like being completely honest, like I played Hearthstone because it was my thing that I did when I was bored. But it was kind of like whatever. I'd stop playing it for months on end and I'd be perfectly okay with that. And it's not because I wasn't good. Like when I played Hearthstone, I made Legend every season and, top 100 a couple times. But it was whatever. I could stop playing whenever I wanted. If I stopped playing Lorcana, like when I deployed and I could not play Lorcana, like that really sucked. I love my community. I love the community that is Lorcana. And I love Lorcana, period. So that being said, I love my time. So 65-minute rounds would just eat me up. Like I would find a really hard time with that. When I go to locals, if I get a bye in round 1, I will leave. I will go home because I don't want to sit there for an hour and do nothing because I don't want to talk to the other players because they're playing their game. So I want to be respectful of that. And so it's that balance, right? I love Lorcana and I could play Lorcana all day, but also if my wife is off and not working, she's not at the gym, she doesn't have a client, I also want to go home and do stuff with my wife more, right? And but that's my priorities in things. And I'm not saying that if that's not how you feel or whatever, then that you're wrong or what. No, because that's life and we're adults and we get to make our own choices. That's just how I feel. So personally, I would not like to see 65-minute rounds. That would feel awful to me. So, and Blushy, you just started playing Lorcana. Welcome, brother. We are, we need to keep an eye on this. We are watching a CCQ. It's a qualifier for Continentals, so you can try and qualify for Worlds, and they're in between rounds. So we're just kind of chilling, waiting for the next round. So, I think I want to be a judge for Lorcana, also a game designer and professor. I'm really interested in new and different games, and Lorcana certainly is trying to be. Yeah, I think a lot of people are talking about how Lorcana is dying, and it is in an interesting place because a lot of local leagues have gotten smaller, but other local leagues have gotten bigger. Like, and to put it into perspective, YouTube content creators are doing better as well. So that means that Lorcana is not dying. It's just in a weird place in local communities right now, but Lorcana is only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And a lot of people don't see that because their local league isn't growing. But when you look at the number of content creators and how they're growing and their numbers are growing and DLCs are still impossible to get into, we filled a 4,000 person DLC in a matter of minutes. Lorcana is not going anywhere. And I still think this is a great time to get involved in it, especially with a judge program that's supposed to be coming sometime, right? Hopefully in 2026. We'll see. So, I think if your game is a format is best of 3, you would 100% have a sideboard. I don't like playing Magic the Gathering anymore. That being said, some things just make sense. I hope the new Angel card mechanic fixes it, and on paper it does. Oh, the new Angel. Are you talking Slap Happy? Are you talking about the new Angel that if you're on the draw sheet, you can play her on turn 1? Sideboards are a thing in other games. Okay. All right. It is in Riftbound. Okay. 75 to 80% of your deck is a resource you can add to your Inkwell. Lorcana has no resource cards, though. Your sideboard can be inkables in your deck. In Magic the Gathering, more than 1/3 of your deck is ink. Yeah. And that's why I understand the whole argument of sideboard is your inkable cards are your sideboard. But I also understand what Blader said in that it's not the same, right? Because there's some tech cards that you just don't run unless you're against a certain matchup. So I can definitely understand that. We'll have this on in the background if you guys wanted to watch another match. But I'm not going to commentate on it. And honestly, if you guys really want to watch it, I highly encourage you just to go to 20 Lore's stream, okay? And just support them on their stream. But we'll kind of have it on in the background while we wait for the next round to start. So, and it's Liam and Katie that are casting right now. 2 phenomenal casters. So, okay. So, lots of great cards are on inkables. Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? Is the uninkable tech card. So I definitely understand that argument. Like, imagine being able to take out your Calhouns against Blurple. Exactly, right? Like, and that's... I would not be upset if sideboards came into Lorcana because I can understand why you'd want to include sideboards in Lorcana because of how good the uninkables are. Now, and I could also understand why you'd never them on YouTube, on TV. Way to support both of them, man. That is awesome. That is wicked cool, man. That's really cool. So, but I would not be unhappy if we got a sideboard, and I also wouldn't care if we did get a sideboard because there's strategy involved in both. If there's no sideboard, then you have to take that risk of how many uninkables do I run? Do I run this bad card in case I run into that matchup? Things like that. Now, you look at Frank Karsten, who's recognized there is no sideboard, so I'm just going to run a lot of everything. I'm going to run a lot of 1 or 2 ofs because they're really, really good into certain matchups that other cards are not. So you could just do it like Frank Karsten, and just run all the good cards and just a limited amount of the good cards. That way you have the cards you need into the matchup that you need it in. So also having to include sideboard tech cards in your main deck does take away from the integrity of the deck. Like if we had a sideboard, we could play more well-rounded lists that aren't forced to run clunky cards. Very true, right? And I'll go back to my Cusco, the 5 cost on Inkable Cusco, that when you play and have this on the field, then your opponent does not discard any card, or you do not discard cards if your opponent played a card to force you to discard. So for example, if I have Cusco down and my opponent plays Headless Horseman, all I do is draw 3 cards and I don't have to discard anything. And also, he doesn't get to do any damage with Headless Horseman except for his actions that he discards. So there's that, right? I'm going to get really upset if they roll dice to choose which cards to discard. Don't you roll a dice. I swear to all that is holy. I hate that people roll dice, because look how much time they've taken out of this round. So the timer is not up. They're rolling dice. So, okay, we're going to go off on a tangent here because I like what he did there. He rolled the dice and said, whatever I roll is what I will keep. All right. That's really cool. I'm on board with that. But the players that roll a dice 3 times, so like he's going to roll a dice 3 times here. They're playing Blue Steel versus Blurple. This is a matchup that often goes to turns. Look how they've taken 2 minutes at this point to roll a dice for 1 card. 1 card they spent 2 minutes on in a matchup that's already super slow. You don't have to roll the dice. I literally roll 3 dice. And that's perfectly fine too. If you roll 3 dice, that's fine. Personally, I just point at the card. It's still randomized. If you shuffle your hand and then lay your 3 cards down, it does the same thing. Your opponent doesn't know what those 3 cards are. You don't know what those 3 cards are. It's still completely randomized, like Headless Horseman has to be. And it saves you an entire 2 minutes in a game that is very likely to go to turns. Rolling 3 dice, though, also works. All right. That also works very well. All right. It looks like we're about to go into round 9, the last round of day 1. The CCQ in Bologna is only 9 rounds today. So, and then day 2 will be tomorrow. And then once this is done, we'll go ahead and raid the CCS so we can show some support to 20 lore and all those guys. So, what is this? Who followed? Who followed? What is it? Tiro KN. I appreciate the follow, man. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're enjoying the stream and the DLC. Not the DLC, the CCQ. Oh, they're just opening packs. Okay. All they're doing is opening packs, so we don't need to watch that. But yeah, I don't know how you guys feel. But yeah, I also do that sometimes. Yeah, the rolling 3 dice, I like that idea. But it's just my it's my tangent. It's my pet peeve, right? A lot of it is also influenced by the fact that I play green-purple control, which is a matchup that goes to time a lot. So if my opponent tries to waste time with Headless Horseman, I'm not going to be there for it. I will immediately call a judge. That way the time gets stopped and we get a time extension, and then I will have the judge tell him to do it the other way. Because I don't have time playing green-purple control for us to roll a dice 6 times. And if my opponent doesn't want to do the whole discard this, that, in that card, then I'm just going to call a judge and save myself the 2 minutes. And that's just what I have to do, unfortunately. And it also goes to say, like, I just want to repeat what every single judge has ever told me. And then I want all of you to know, never be afraid to call a judge for anything. Period. That's what they're there for, and that's what they love to do. All right. And if you don't call a judge, let's say you're trying to figure something out on your own. If you call a judge and they have to figure it out, you can get a time extension. But if you're trying to figure this thing out on your own and it takes you 2-3 minutes to figure it out on your own, then that's 2 or 3 minutes that you've taken away from the game. So just a lot of things to consider. All right. Hey, another follow from it's going to disappear before I even figure out how to say that. Schnatter Inken. One second. What did that say? Schnatter Inchen 76. Schnatter Inken 76. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, brother, but I appreciate the follow. If you've been watching all day, you will know that getting people's names correct is not my forte at all. Which is funny because I was a leadership school instructor where I taught a bunch of students for 4 years. And there were students that would come in with their names, and I wouldn't even attempt it. I was like, all right, if I did not call your name, raise your hand. And then I would tell them to pronounce their name for me. There was one student, I could not get his name pronounced correct the entire class. So for graduation, we agreed that I'd say his nickname at graduation and not his actual name because I just could not get it. It required me to like roll my R and do something else at the same time to get it correct, and I just couldn't figure it out. And I felt awful, but he was super cool about it, so it worked out. So now that would be just play 4 Headless Horsemen just so I can just prove a point, right? So that I hate that. Okay. I think Blue Steel is going to win this matchup, though. Goliath put in a lot of work here. And I'm glad you're enjoying it, Tiro. Thank you very much. I'm definitely glad that you're enjoying it. That's always really nice to see. So I wonder what the matchup breakdown will look like at CCS. All right. This one should be starting soon. But yeah, I think Blue Steel is going to win this one. Goliath put in a lot of work. I do think Goliath, like turn 4 Goliath is probably one of the strongest starts for this deck. Against green-purple control, I have to keep a Mother Knows Best or a You're Welcome in hand. Oftentimes, opting to keep a You're Welcome just to answer Goliath because it becomes a really tough game if they get a Goliath down on turn 4, and we have to now answer that at some point while also trying to build our own hand and all of those other things. So, all right. All right, I definitely think this game is over. He's going to quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 this turn, going all the way up to 26. But it is only game 1 of round 3. So I'm also sorry if I'm giving you guys whiplash switching back and forth between the two, but I really don't want to miss the lore league going into round 9. So we're just going to keep doing it. All right, so while they shuffle, we'll switch back and see what's happening. Nothing is happening. What do you guys think DLC Richmond's going to look like? If, as of right now, until someone shows up with a deck that just has the secret sauce into Purple Steel, I think that DLC Richmond is just going to be a lot like this Bologna CCQ is. A lot of Amethyst Steel, a lot of Green Blue. And the reason I say that, so Blurple is still a good deck into Amethyst Steel. And I believe that Blurple could be the deck that holds Amethyst Steel back. The problem is Blurple, and when I say Blurple, I'm talking about Amethyst Sapphire, is not good into Green Blue, Emerald Sapphire. And it's not good in the way that it's really not good the majority of the time, because you can't build your deck to be really good into Amethyst Steel and Green Blue. You have to choose one or the other. So with that being the case, Blurple really can't come into make things difficult. I don't know who either one of those two people are. But Blurple really can't come in to make things difficult for Amethyst Steel. So it allows Amethyst Steel to just go crazy because its bad matchup doesn't exist right now because of Green Blue and those other decks. But we've also seen today Green Blue did really well into Amethyst Steel going 2-0. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was 2-0. So I'm on recess. I'm going to listen for a bit. Also, don't tell my students I'm lurking while at class. Mishka, what do you teach? What grade? What class? I'm assuming it's not college if you have recess. Probably not high school either because there's recess. I know my high school didn't have recess. So what do you teach? Your secret is safe with us unless one of your students is also watching my stream right now while on recess. Oh, it at the university level, they get recess in university? Are you out of the United States, or is this university like UK university? Because then I have questions about how things operate there. And if recess is the same thing. Game design. That's really cool. That's really cool, man. All right. While we wait for the last round of the Lore League to start, we'll see how this goes. The girl in red. Oh my God, she does. Oh my goodness gracious. Hang on. Mother Gothel. Save image. Save. OBS. Image. Image. Here. Mother Gothel. Get my face out of the way. She does, doesn't she? She even has the perm. Is that called a perm? The curves, the waves in her hair. Oh my goodness. She really does. That is amazing. Look at this guy in the back. She really does. It is the same person. If she put, like, she has red, like, her lips are already pretty red, but if she puts some lipstick on, she has, like, the same nose is similar. Oh my goodness. That is amazing. That is awesome. We'll just kind of leave that up there for a second. Game design university level. I'm Mexican right now, but I also teach in Argentina. Both have long classes and recesses in between. 4-hour courses. Okay, all right. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so they can get up, stretch their legs, grab a snack, all of that stuff. So, yes. Oh my goodness. It really is the same person. That's outstanding. Uh-oh, this match isn't going great. Spider-Man meme. Images. I just want, there we go. Save image, save. We'll do another image, browse. We're just making this look super. This is the most sloppy stream ever. We're going live, folks. Oh my God, why is it so pixelated? That is amazing. She's my favorite person now. What are the odds that someone named Spider TCH, Spider Gretch, while I had the Spider-Man meme up, follows. Thank you very much for the follow, man. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Not much Lorcana going on right now, but we're chilling. We're having a good time. We are waiting for round 9. So Hey, I was in a hurry, okay? I was in a hurry. We had to make things happen. If I was really good with what's it called? Photoshop, I would Photoshop like her face, Mother Gothel's face on two of these Spider-Mans right now. But that's not me. I have zero skill in Photoshop, so not happening. But this is awesome. Oh no, not that. This is amazing. I love this right now. Eventually the next round will start, everybody. They take a while there. Like, ooh, a full board clear. Goliath down. Oh, he had Whale. Whale came down. Nice. And then Whale into a Goliath feels really good because you're going to get to refill your hand from that Goliath. Nice. That was a really good turn. Whale saved the day on that one. This is amazing. Esther, you're my favorite person. I hope you know that. We'll just no, that's cool. That makes me smile. Fall League CCQ. I think one of my biggest, so what has been your guys' opinions of CCQs recently? So oh, she read the chat.
Sì, ma
Guarda come è felice, è tutta...
quando mi dicono che
What's your guys' opinions of CCQs? I really like CCQs. I like the idea of them. My biggest complaint about CCQs has been that it's so hard to keep track of them. Like, they're not something that's, because Lorcana has no database, unless they do, and I just don't know about it. Unless Lorcana has a database, then it's really hard for people to track them, and they don't get announced, so people can't plan for them really. So it's just rough. I mean, for like, how many CCQs have we seen that we found out the week before the event that it was actually a CCQ? So the only person it benefits are locals, or people who are willing to let Lorcana be, everything that they are. Like, but no, he's rolling the dice. See, that is now a total of 4 minutes in these 2 games that they have lost. Tangent incoming. But yeah, I just wish that CCQs were organized. And I know that they did say that CCQs is something that was not supposed to come out until season 3. So maybe we'll see CCQs come out in season 3 with a database, some organization that says, these are the scheduled CCQs for this set. In set 11, these are the stores that will be hosting CCQs, and these are the dates they will be hosting them. That way, people can actually plan and schedule around going to these CCQs. But when they don't announce them anywhere, then it's just hard to track. People miss out on opportunities, and it's really unfortunate, because there are people that would travel to all these CCQs if they knew when and where they were happening, and they could schedule, work to be able to go to them. It looks like he hit nothing with Headless Horseman. No actions. So rather unfortunate. Probably really wanted to blow up that Dumbo. But so I don't know. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, but I like the idea of CCQs. I hate that CCQs are not something that's more widely represented. There we go. Widely shared with the community in general. So I keep eating those Twizzlers, and I'm really jealous because I haven't eaten breakfast yet. Because I woke up and jumped straight on here so we could have English stream. And round 9, I feel like, is never going to start. It should be starting soon. Give us round 9. Okay. I'm curious. I'm curious how much time is left in this round. See, this is okay. So for the DLCs, I started restreaming to YouTube for 2 reasons. The first reason is that I have a really tough time with Twitch chat. Like, some of these people are just, I mean, just not good people, right? Like the Epi. How is this Blurple player 2-0? Like, well, he's 2-0 because he beat 2 people. Like, that's it. Like, right? Like, I don't care if you think he's making a lot of misplays. Like, why do you gotta be so negative? I'm trying to filter myself and not use, hey, we have a game. I'm trying to filter myself and not use words that I don't need to use. But like Twitch chat reminds me of Reddit. Like, people are they're just not good people on there for no reason other than the fact that they want to, question everything that another player does, or point out that maybe they made a misplay, or maybe they should have done something different. And it's like, well, the fact of the matter is they're 2-0 there and you're not, right? Maybe you've been to CCS and you've never been 2-0. Or people that I know were at the CCS and then I see them questioning or pointing out mistakes or saying things like that about a player that's in Top Cut when they went 0-3 drop. And it's like, who are you to even question their decisions? You lost your first 3 rounds and then dropped the whole tournament. So I don't know. We just got to be better people. Why are we being why are we just not being better people, right, in our own community? All right, so we do have Amethyst Ruby, Red Purple versus Blue Steel, that Sapphire Steel. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. Now, one that I don't think either player is favored into. What you want to see here when you're the Ruby Amethyst player is all those 2 questers, because if you're just trying to go under them, right? You want to see the Tinkerbell into a Diablo, into a Sizu, into a Genie, and just all these cards that are questing for 2. So for example, looking at his hand, he has the Diablo there. Now it's just, what do I want to ink? Personally, I think Iago could be an ink here, but Cheshire Cat also going to be a good ink here, one that you're not worried about, because you're not going to be doing so much trading in this game where the Cheshire Cat's going to be moving a whole lot of damage. So really just focusing on how much lore can I get out before things start going crazy. And we see that Enrico sees the 2-4-6 line, so he goes Sail into Cinderella, and then we'll see what his turn 4 is. His turn 3. If his turn 3 is an evasive answer like Jasmine, that's going to be really impactful for him. If it's something like Goliath. Ooh. Next stop, Olympus, which tells us that our Ruby Amethyst player is likely running the Maui Half Shark, which will be really entertaining. If he's running that Maui Half Shark, then another line that you kind of have to be worried about, because what happens is that now they have reach. So the Ruby Amethyst player can get to a high lore. If they get to 14 or 16 lore, then all they need are some Pirate's Life to kind of close out the game. So really important to recognize that they might be on Pirate's Life. So you can't really afford to be super greedy. If you can clear characters, you definitely are going to have to do that. So for example, if Enrico does something like, hey, have a good one, Mishka. I agree. It is very beautiful artwork on that Enchanted Cinderella, and enjoy your class, man. So like I was about to say, if Enrico has Thunderbolt, it's going to be super impactful here. So Cinderella came down last turn. gets him to that 5 ink, and so he can go to 6 ink this turn. Sings the Thunderbolt, which then slows down the Ruby Amethyst player. Now, one thing that I do think is really interesting, he did not quest with the Diablo, and he did not. Yeah, so he was scared of Tinkerbell, and I don't think that that's the play. I think that you force them to have the Tinkerbell because look at that. Yeah, I think you force them to have the Tinkerbell every day, because if they have the Tinkerbell, then they wouldn't have been able to Zeus your Sizu anyways. So now, though, sitting there with 2 lore and just a character that Mulan's going to trade into. Okay, so he does trade into the Cinderella, 2 lore, and Blue Steel Sapphire Steel is already on their Hades and Vincenzo turns, and you're on 2 lore. So really rough position to be in. I'm curious if there's a world, and because maybe there is, right? Maybe there's a world where keeping the Diablo from being banished allows for some other trade that I'm just not aware of right now. Or not even a trade, but a decision. But where you don't have Strength of Raging Fires, I don't know what that might be, unless you're keeping it ready for Demona to come down eventually. That could be something. All right, we see Blue Steel with the Mulan. I'm a huge fan of Mulan and Blue Steel over the Captain Hook 1-drops. It just allows you to run more on Inkables safely, and it allows you to filter to the cards that are important. Like, this deck has so many important cards to it, Goliath being one of them. So Mulan just letting you filter to those cards and also filter out on Inkables is an extremely strong thing to do. So I'm a huge fan of the Mulan over Captain Hook in these Blue Steel lists, and I believe we've started seeing a lot of them move to Mulan from Captain Hook. Yes, you lose a little bit of capability into aggro, but I agree. Demona is a long ways away, so it would have been weird if that was the play as well. But that's all I can think of why he wouldn't have quested there, and then he wanted to keep the Diablo. So Ruby Amethyst, 2 cards in hand, so he does not get to benefit from that Goliath, which is unfortunate. So we'll see what happens now, because now if Enrico answers with like a Vincenzo onto that Headless Horseman, that's rough. That's going to be really tough for Michelle. Is it Michelle? I think it is Michelle. It could be Michael. Thunderbolt, a 3rd Thunderbolt comes down. 3rd Thunderbolt, taking out that Iago. And then now he plays both cards. So he draws his 2 for Goliath, and then he is going to choose to use Bell. So he does ink with Bell and pass his turn. Filters another card. Headless Horseman, if he quests, is going to be taken out by Mulan, so he's not going to be questing with Headless Horseman. He does have a 2nd Horseman, so that 2nd Horseman letting him take out Cinderella, which is really nice, and then pass his turn. We'll see. I'm curious, what is the 2 cards he has in hand? They must be uninkables with the fact that he did not ink. Wouldn't that feel awful if it was 2 more Headless Horsemans? It could be a Genie as well. So Genies, Headless Horsemans, there's definitely a lot of cards that it could be that he could be stuck on and not getting that Goliath value. So really unfortunate there. I think questing with Goliath is perfectly fine here. I mean, you don't have to, right? But if he wants to, he has to trade 2 characters into Goliath unless he has an Elsa in hand. Then he could go Headless Horseman plus Elsa. But that doesn't feel great. But yeah, so I think questing with Goliath's perfectly fine here. So one of them was a Genie, most likely. We don't know what exactly they were, but we'll see what else we have going on. We have the Demona. So Demona not going to do a lot for us when there is. Okay. Oh, that works. Okay. So that feels really bad, but it allows him to take care of both of them. So Headless Horseman getting the +1 attack from taking out the Mulan. So Headless Horseman becoming a 5/2. So being able to take out that Goliath. Yes, a third bolt did feel bad. And Goliath was putting in so much work this game. And the fact that Blue Steel was able to utilize every Goliath for maximum value for 3 turns, and the Ruby Amethyst was not able to. He was only able to draw 1 card off of the. No, I don't believe he drew a single card off of the opponent's Goliath. So definitely feels really bad for the Ruby Amethyst player. Still at 3 ink. Luckily, you do have a Genie down. So Genie, of course, never mind. We'll just move on with our lives. Pretend that was never there. As Hades comes down and represents another 2-quester with Blue Steel now going up to 7 lore, representing 6 on board. We do see a Genie come down. If you can get enough Genies down, they can, of course, kind of run away being evasives. But especially when there's only 1 Thunderbolt left in your opponent's deck. But now Namari getting to dig through 2 cards every turn. If you are Amethyst Sapphire Steel, I think at this point you're just looking for Vincenzo's and Hades. Find more Hades to answer whatever they play. Find Vincenzo's. Those Vincenzo's getting to quest for 3, deal 1 damage to the, leave the Genie with 1 health, 1 willpower left. So if you find a Tinkerbell, that clears it next turn. And now game is on board. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 22 represented on board. Playing a Tipo just for funsies. And that is going on to the next game. I don't know if 7 and 2 can make it. I'm pretty sure 7 and 2 makes it into day 2. I definitely makes it into day 2. But 6 and 3... I don't know. I'd be curious if both of these players make it to day 2, even if one or the other loses. I also don't know how many players are represented in day 2 for this event. Yeah, good game 2, definitely. So that was not gonna go well. So and that went really quick. So they definitely have time. We'll check over here, see what's happening. Looks like an interview. This was the Blue Steel player. So the Blue Steel player won that matchup. So you have to be X2. Okay. So yeah, unfortunate then this is definitely a win and in for them, which is always an exciting match. Definitely going to be interesting to see what the outcome of this is. So Ruby Amethyst was on the play last game, so we'll see if he's able to get it, but being on the draw for game 3 is definitely going to feel really bad. So we'll see if he's able to get there or not. There's a squiggly on here. What's my squiggly? There we go. Get that squiggly out of the way. Okay. All right. These two gentlemen have great faces and great heads of hair. Let's see what they're messing with their altar. This is like when I leave my face cam on that blocks the game so no one can see it. All right. Come on. I've been playing red purple quite a bit, and blue steel does not feel like a bad matchup. If you can flood the board, it's hard for them to come back. Exactly. And that's what I think the entire game plan has to be. That's you play that Tinkerbell or Palace Guard or Diablo on turn 1, play Diablo turn 2, turn 3 you rock the Sisu. Hey Neri, what's going on, man? Appreciate you a lot. So I'm glad. I hope you're enjoying the stream. I hope you're having a good time, and I hope you're enjoying it. So but yeah, I think if you can play all those 2-questers, then there's definitely a line. But if there's so many lines that Blue Steel can take as well. If they get that turn 4 Tinkerbell down, you can't turn sideways anymore. If they get the Cindy down, then it's easy for them to sing the Thunderbolts. So there's a lot of ways for Blue Steel to be able to just conquer the matchup. And there's really only one way that red purple has a chance to win the matchup, in my opinion. And that one way being see all the 2 questers and get them down. So it feels like it is definitely going to be a rough matchup. Is that it? That's a medallion weights. Wow. So we do know, I think it's, is it Michelle or Michael? I'm assuming Michael, but I know Michelle is not an unpopular name for men in Europe as well. So I'm curious. I don't know. We know that the red purple player is running Next Stop Olympus also, which tells us that he's probably on Maui Half Sharks. And then we do see medallion weights, another unique card that we do not see in red purple. That's more of a card that we've been seeing a lot of in red blue. So very interesting card to see there that we did not see last game. We see Blue Steel ink the Goliath to play the Sail. We do not know if he has Cinderella in hand or not. So yeah, just say his last name. Really? No. Azarelli? Asarelli? So, Elrathion saying Blue Steel is a bad matchup. Another player that's played a lot of red purple as well. So, but I think it's a bad matchup for that reason. It's just, it's so easy for them to find so many good answers. If they don't see Cinderella, I think red purple can be in a really good place to get there. But if they see Cinderella, which is not unlikely for them to see Cinderella when they have visions, and I guess normally you can only use develop, right? But still, he is Italian, so it is very common. Yeah, so it could be Michelle. It could be Michelle. It could also be Michael. We will never know unless someone in here knows him personally and can tell me which one it is. So true, no Cindy is win, but they always, yeah, they really do, because it's not uncommon, right? You filter with Mulan, you get the Sail to draw, develop lets you look for it. So it's not an uncommon thing to have. Now it looks like, so we ink the visions. Do we have it? Do we have it? It doesn't look like we do this time. So that is definitely really positive for the red purple player. Over Kita. So Kita much slower at getting things going. Yes, people run Kita in case they do not see Cindy, but the Kita is just much slower. It's a very, very tough one to get down because it slows the gameplay down so much. Because yes, next turn he can get that extra ink to go up to 5 ink and then ink to go to 6 ink, but he can still only play a 5 cost character. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 cost character next turn. So much, much slower. I think if you're Michelle, you just quest everything. You go to town. Yep. So, all right. It's a little more, you guys don't see me because there's no camera, but I had to lean up in my chair. I was kind of relaxing, right? I was chilling out. I was leaning back, and Michaela. So I was completely wrong about everything in my life. Okay. Well, I said it could be Michelle or Michael, and of course it's Michaela. And Kim, do you know it's Michaela? Were you watching the other stream? And they said Michaela? Because if it is, that'd be really funny. All right. Or if you're gaslighting me. And because I believe you. So, okay. So we see the Kita go sideways to use her effect. What in the world does that mean? Michelle? Oh, we see a Thunderbolt come down to take out the... I can't do the name thing again. Oh, Rathion, you weren't here earlier. We did the name thing for a whole match earlier, and I just could not get... I think the guy's name was Giacomo, and I still don't know if I'm saying it correct. So we can't do the whole name thing again. People, I'm just going to get roasted. I'm just going to get roasted. You guys know what his name is. I do not. Looking at the match, we see a Thunderbolt come down for Blue Steel to take out the Dumbo, which does hurt a lot. Now, with that being said, he does still have a healthy hand. It looks like he has 3 cards in hand. So it's not a bad hand still, but you are losing the 1 lore, which feels bad. And you are losing 2 card draw, which also feels bad. The Vanellope and the Dumbo being able to both would have let you draw on cards. We see the next up, Olympus, go into the Inkwell. Now, one thing you could have done there, if you really were just feeling really spicy, is Cheshire Cat could have challenged into the Kita. Then you play next stop, Olympus, to gain 1 lore. And then you boost the Cheshire Cat to move 2 damage to the Mulan. And you still gain 1 lore. So that wouldn't have been the worst decision, while also taking out their entire field. And I wonder if that may have been the better play. I'm curious what you guys think about that one. So opting, though, to get the Ursula down, which also a good play, but your opponent is on Hades next turn. So that does play a big impact. And if he's going to challenge into Kita anyways, then he's going to be forced. He's going to... Oh, that just... So that's an interesting choice, because now if Tinkerbell does come down, Tinkerbell is going to take out both of those characters, whereas he could have sent in the Palace. Oh, what interesting. Now, if Ursula gets to live, top-notch play, right? If Ursula lives here to get that lore, then it's a massive, massive play. But if he plays, even if he plays Tinkerbell, because it will be evasive, but if he plays a Hades here, looks like he's getting ready to turn 5 ink, so he might not have Tinkerbell or Hades. So really just not getting the draws he wants this game. But if that's ever to happen, you want it to happen on the draw in game 2, so you can be on the play in game 3. Get the bad game out of the way, go to the good game, and just win when you're on the play. But definitely looks like a rough place for Enrico right now. So many good lines he could have, but it doesn't seem like he has any of them. Forced to play a Damari. Damari is a big character. It's going to be able to quest or challenge into anything on his board that's not evasive and take it out. And the fact that it lets him dig, though, is the more important piece of this card, because he's able to dig, draw that 1, and now he's going to have to discard, and then next turn he will draw, discard, and then draw for turn. So really a tough choice. Really thinking about what he wants to discard here. Discards the Spooky, trades Mulan into Cheshire Cat, and passes turn. He did not ink there either. No ink. So we did see he does have a Beyond the Horizon in his hand. So that is one of the uninkables in hand, which at this point, not a card that you want to be using. So quest for 3? 4, 5. Ooh, they're using tokens there. That's interesting that they're using those tokens there. Okay. In Italian, it is pronounced as, which sounds like Michela. Michele? With an emphasis on the second syllable. The. Michaela. Americans will turn it into Michaela. So is it Michele? Michele? Is that correct? I know, us dirty Americans. Okay. Yes, that's correct. Michele. Michele. That's interesting. I like that name. Michele. Okay. Anyways, game is going on. We figured out how to pronounce his name. Life is good. We're having a good time. He does have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 on board. Tinkerbell no longer able to be the deciding factor here. Yes, it does slow him down. Okay, so it does slow him down. It does answer the Vanellope. And a Thunderbolt. Oh, no. So we see a second Thunderbolt come down, taking out that Ursula. So now only able to quest to 15 this next turn. But that still puts you at 15 with your opponent only at 0. It gives you a lot of time to find the answers you need. But you have to be prepared that any card that's under 3 willpower will get removed by Vincenzo. So you have to be worried about the 4 Vincenzos and the 4 Hades that Blue Steel is likely on. So still in a tough position to fight back. You can't quest here with those Palace Guards. Not where you played a Headless Horseman. Very curious. Oh, the last card in hand is a Demona. Because he didn't ink here, and he played the Headless Horseman, which tells us that the last card in his hand is definitely a Demona. So his next turn, as long as he draws an Inkable, is going to be really, really strong. Getting that 5/6/2 body down, but also drawing 3 cards is going to be incredibly impactful. So we'll kind of see what happens here. It looks like he's really debating questing here. Oh no, okay. So it did go to Enrico. Okay, I just missed that he started his turn with the Namari. So he does discard the Beyond the Horizon. We see the Hades come down. Smart. Okay, so really interesting decision there to play the Hades, because Hades is going to enable the Demona that is likely in hand. But if he played Vincenzo, then Vincenzo gets removed by Headless Horseman. So there's the Demona that we knew was in his hand, or we had a high guess that it was in his hand. Turns the Hades sideways. Not challenging into anything. You could quest now if you really wanted to, but if you do, no, you still can't quest, because if you quest, then Tinkerbell takes out Palace Guard, puts 2 damage on Demona, and then he can Thunderbolt your Demona. So you still can't afford to quest your Palace Guards here. But that's fine, because if he wants to use a Thunderbolt on a Palace Guard, that's fine. If he wants to use a Vincenzo, you lose 1 lore, but losing 1 lore is better than losing the 2 lore. Because next turn, if he can't... He's taken the chance. He has taken the chance that his opponent does not have a 3rd Thunderbolt here. If he does have a 3rd Thunderbolt, then he will be able to take out Demona. All right, let's see what happens. I'm on the edge of my seat. Are we going to see a game 3? There's still a lot of time. He's still at 15 lore with 3 cards in hand. So... Oh, or Hades. Hades will also do it. So Hades sends it. Now, Tinkerbell, at this point, if you're Blue Steel, you just take out both characters, right? And then you take it out, yep, with the Hades. And then you quest for 2 with the Namari. That puts you at 6. Then you go to 7. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on board. So 14 next turn. So if you're red-purple and you can spam the board here, you might have it. It has 4H. Tink doesn't kill it. What do you... Well, yeah, correct. So he traded... So he moved the 2 damage. He took out the 1 Palace Guard, moved the 2 damage, and then he used Hades to take out the other Palace Guard. That's why the Palace Guard... Or that's why the Hades has the 1 damage on it. So... I thought the same thing at first, so I'm with you. But all right, so Genie does come down, gets to draw a card, and he needs to be able to spam the field. His only line here, because his opponent has 2-turn lethal here, so you have to be able to play enough cards to get to 20 lore here. So he needs to play a 2-quester and at least a 1-quester. So he inks the cat. That's not enough if he only plays 1 card. Plays the Headless Horseman. That's only 19. if he does have White Rose, so some of these decks do run White Rose. So if he has the White Rose, then that is going to be enough to get him there. Man, what is in his hand? So we see the Develop the Brain come down. Develop Your Brain comes down. Searches through. And then if he just sees a Vincenzo or a Hades, it is game over. And there will not be a game 3. And that's game. I just want to know. I want to see his hand and if he had a White Rose in hand. All right. Because what a way to go if you did have a White Rose. 14 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on board. Oh, he has 3 White Roses. Oh, plays 3. So there's the Maui Half Shark. Oh, but he does have Pirate's Life in his deck. So he could have played Pirate's Life if he had. No, what's under the Diablo? What's under the Diablo? What's under the Diablo? No, we need to know what's under the Diablo. Don't do this to me. If it's a White Rose or a Pirate's Life, I need to know. What is under? Oh, okay. So he didn't have it. So he never had it. He never had the White Rose or the Pirate's Life, which is unfortunate. So, well, shucky darn. Well, that was round 9, ladies and gentlemen, of the CCQ in Bologna. So tomorrow, again, I will be getting up early just for you guys. I'm not gonna sleep in on my day off, and gonna get up for you guys. We're gonna cast the finals. All right. So in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and raid 20 lore. They're over there rocking the CCS, so we can see what's going on over there. For anyone who wants to know why I had the Mother Gothel up, because Esther looks a lot like Mother Gothel. So yeah, the slower version is really interesting. It's more lines, right? So I could see why people do like it. But there's no more rounds. So we're going to jump over there, everybody. I appreciate you all being there. Let's jump into Stream Manager. Creator dashboard, Stream Manager, manage stream, bang. No, that's not it. Yeah, raid. We want to raid now. Raid channel. Same category. All right. We got the CCS qualifier. This is stream 2. I do not know who's casting stream 2. So do you guys just want to do stream 1? I'll let you guys tell me. Do you want to do stream 2 or stream 1? I do not know who's casting stream 2 or stream 1, to be honest. So I don't know which caster you're going to get. I do know they have a lot of the big names down there. They got JDZ who's cooking. They got Color is Law, Jeebus. I think I even saw, no, I forget who's all there, but they definitely have a lot of the big name casters down there that are rocking and rolling. So, but it looks like we'll just jump into stream 1. You guys can deal with the Reddit that is the Twitch chat there. So, all right. Appreciate you guys. It's on break right now, but that's all right. You guys can chill out in there. Appreciate the sitting around, chilling out with me. We had a good time pronouncing names. And yeah, we'll do it again tomorrow, guys, with finals. So we'll get up bright and early. So let's go show some support, though, to 20 lore, putting on the awesome CCS. I hope everyone's having a good time there. We'll give it a little bit for people to join in on that, and then we'll scoot on over. All right. Looks like we got enough people. Okay, let's jump on over, guys. Until next time, remember, stay happy and healthy, all right?